Hello. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing?
Hello.
I hope we're all keeping well. Thank you very much for joining me today. So, today we're going to be back reviewing your theories once again. I actually have something to add here into the background. I wonder how I can do this best. Might be a little bit difficult, actually. You know what? I'll leave that for the time being. But how are we all doing? Yeah, how are we all keeping? We're doing well. We're doing well. Hello, Skeleton Ting. Hello, Raccoon Smiles. Hello, Com Channel 1. Laney the Witch, number 1 right now. Secret Comfiness, how's it going? Lorenzo, how's it going? I did see Feet Theory last time. I did talk about that actually last stream if you missed it. In the first, how's it going? Yoni, Unknown Code, Salmon Joseph, Harrison James, SJ1 Productions, Ben 10 Screams, how's it going? Orange the Ripper, Peanut Butter Sandwich, welcome back. Humble to Zero, Remy, The Rocketator, Jackbit, KL, IP. This is just the stream where I read everyone's names. Flipside, how's it going? Oh great Unwithered Tree, rate out my theory, my life is yours. You know what? That's a good start. Let's go with Flipside's. Let's go with Flipside's theory just to start. I don't have anyone with me today. I might see if I can get people in later on. But last week, I think a lot of the time was spent us debating and talking and then going off on tangent stuff, which was great. Don't be wrong. If you missed last week's episode, this is basically you guys have submitted theories to me. You can find a link to it in the chat here. It's the pinned comment. And then I'm basically going to go through them and talk about them, what I think about them. And if I agree or disagree, or if there's anything I could add to it or, debunk. So, yeah, that's the idea of the stream. So I suppose I'll start with Flipside's theory. Let me go in here and search this up. Flipside. There we are. Flipside for another channel. Let me see. Ralph Toyshink. I saw your video about this, Flipside. You did a little self-promotion. I think Gibby and I actually mentioned this last week. But yeah, Ralph Toyshink. If you guys haven't seen Flipside's video on it, go watch it. It's a good video. I took it kind of in a similar vein to my recent Toyshink video, where not everything in it I think is necessarily being presented as like, oh yeah, Flipside definitely 100% is on board for this, but it's also, it's compelling in its own way, and it's interesting, I think, to look at all these different perspectives. Anyway, let me read into the little bits that he's put in here. So this is a crackpot theory that Ralph is the one you should not have killed. In FNAF 1 and in the week 4, there are hints that could have been shoved into there are hints that Ralph could have been shoved into Golden Freddy, since Ralph says it's me when he wakes up after being stuffed, and Golden Freddy calls us on night 5, which could be Ralph from Beyond the Grave. So again, this is obviously based on the week before and also FNAF 1. Hydration check. I'm going to steal that from Gibby. I've got lots of water on the table, as you can see here, but I'm really good at drinking with my mind. So I actually should have a screen where I can take a hydration break. That'd be fun. So Ralph seems to have survived his initial stuffing by the animatronics, since he can still smell and says he'll hold out as long as he can. If Ralph was shoved into Golden Freddy, then he could have been found by Dave from Maintenance, who I believe is really Afton, and Dave tripped the Springlock, killing Ralph, since upon discovering damage or death, they are supposed to clean up the evidence first. Phone Guy is the final character on the UCN roster, and Golden Freddy is the final character in the cutscenes and is shaking like Spring Bonnie did due to a Springlock failure. Toyshink is implied to have been terrorized by the animatronics, since Nedbear says, "This is how it feels." And Ralph was 22-time Employee of the Month, so he was terrorized a lot during night shifts. So I believe that actually that Nedbear thing might have been something added from that wasn't in the video. I don't remember that point. But yeah, so obviously this theory is going to be a very unpopular one just from the base of it, because it's suggesting that Golden Freddy is Ralph, right? That the Phone Guy is actually the most important character in the original series, arguably. Maybe aside from William himself and maybe Charlie. But I really like it because it's looking at the week before. It's going, yeah, he was stuffed into something and he can still smell, and he says he's going to hold out, and we're adding up all the it's me's and stuff, and we're going back to I don't know if it wasn't Game Theory's theory that Ralph was the Golden Freddy, but I believe that was a theory at the time. And honestly, looking at FNAF 1, other than the fact that it's 5 kids and 5 robots, so you'd assume one of the kids was in the robots, it is interesting, this idea that the guy who speaks to us on night 5 on the phone is actually Golden Freddy. I don't believe it, personally. I don't believe Ralph is Toyshink. I don't know if Flipside does as well. So Flipside said in chat, narratively it's kind of satisfying, but definitely not true. So you know, it's a bit of fun though. You know, it's interesting to look at these things from a new perspective. You know, I was talking to Gibby about this last week, and we were talking about different perspectives that people can bring to the community and new perspectives, because there's oftentimes, you know, we look at just one theory for so long, or these videos for so long, which are often pulling from the same clips of videos and gameplay that's been uploaded for free use and all this kind of stuff, and we forget there are little things that we don't put together in our minds from playing the games than we do from talking about them, because when you talk about them you start to use shorthand, and in shorthand you lose a lot of information. So if I'm kind of going, oh yeah, and you know the scene where this thing kind of happens, that's not being very specific, because the specifics might actually be more important. And so when new people come into the franchise and provide new perspectives, it's very interesting. So I think, even though I don't think even the intention of this theory is to be quote unquote correct, it is cool to look at these hints and stuff from other perspectives, because it might even help us reflect on some of the ideas that we have now, where we can kind of go, oh yeah, I believe this thing really deeply, but it has pretty much as much evidence as Ralph Toyshink. Like, that was me with Bite Victim Toyshink for the David Toyshink video. Sorry, Toyshink is the one you should not have killed, which is the spirit in UCN. But I did a video recently about Secret of the Mimic and how it solves Ultimate Custom Night, and how David Murray, if he's supposed to be linked to Bite Victim, is the vengeful spirit, because Bite Victim is probably the vengeful spirit in this whole thing. And up to that point, I've been a very strong Cassidy believer, you know, in the idea that Cassidy is the vengeful spirit, you know, the kind of fan interpretation of Cassidy. And the more I looked into it, the more I was like, oh, it actually makes so much more sense if you just have to explain one thing, rather than just randomly assigning all this other evidence that points to Bite Victim to just some kid we don't know anything about. Hey, Gibby, how's it going? You're moving me closer to David Toyshink. Based open-mindedness, exactly. Yeah, the Bite Victim Toyshink stuff, the more I looked at it and the more I kind of considered it as an option, the only issue was obviously the one you shouldn't have killed thing, and that made me go back and look at FNAF 4 in a different lens and kind of understand a bit what other people had been saying over the years, and see it from that perspective, where before I'd kind of gone, well, William didn't kill him on screen, and we kind of guessed how he died years ago, so that must be how it happened. When really there's more to it that you can consider about what Afton might have done. Anyway, sorry, I'm just started talking about my own theory. Ralph Toyshink is the same in that way, where you're taking the basic, like, baseline evidence to somebody who maybe would never have looked at the series this way, or never has looked at the series before, and going, well, that actually has as much evidence as saying this other random character who we know nothing about, you know, etc., etc. Somebody was putting a big long thing about the crying child. This is Defuck Boom. Defuck Boom. The crying child is the vengeful spirit, because the phrase of Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear are answers to what William told him before. Let me look this up. This is our new theory. I'm moving on from Ralph Toyshink. Thank you very much, Flipside. I'm going to look up Nightmare UCN dialogue. I am your wickedness made of flesh. You will not be spared. You will not be saved. The shadow fears me. I am here to claim what is left of you. I will vomit you back to relive your horror. Then we have Nightmare Fredbear dialogue. Let's see how many times you can be pulled apart and put back together. Let me put you back together, then take you apart all over again. This time there's more than an illusion to fear. I assure you I am very real. We know who our friends are and you are not one of them. I know the ones you're talking about in Nightmare Fredbears, which is the put you back together and how many times you can be pulled apart, take back apart all over again, and we know who our friends are, you are not one of them. Is there more to this that I might be missing? Like with Nightmare, you will not be spared, you will not be saved. Like, how does that relate to the Fredbear plush? Dialogue FNAF 4. Am I dumb? So let me see here. Hey, Monotone Kai, thank you very much. Let me be third of my life is yours at $2. Thank you very much, Monotone Kai. I'll go for you next, no worries. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry. Oh, another one. Lainey the Witch, thank you very much. I don't know what currency that is, but thank you very much. Fact that all the people who antagonize William in the game are girl bosses made me giggle, by the way. Cassidy, Charlie, and now Fiona. Queen shit. Yes. Slay, literally. There are some dogs going crazy outside my house. I'm going to close the window. Yeah, that's a bit better. again, I'm really good at doing that with my mind. Let me see. Yeah, Nightmare Fredbear's lines are specifically the ones in reference to the speaker. The only issue is that, like, if they are still representative of the crying child, they could still be separate to the vengeful spirit, because there's something about those characters specifically that links them. But I get your point. So who was that? That was Monotone Kai. Let me get up your theory. We're speeding through these. We're flying. Let me see. Monotone Kai. Eliza voice. Oh my god. What is this? Are you seeker in comfiness in disguise? No, let me see. The theory that Elizabeth is the voice speaking through Fredbear plush the entire game while alive, and that Elizabeth is also Pigtail Girl. Similarities to Circus Baby. Dialogue from Elizabeth. Dialogue from Elizabeth. Dialogue. Oh, are you saying dialogue from Elizabeth in Sister Location means that this is being based on a younger version? Is that what you mean? And because the final voice and Pigtail Girl have the same voice, the same voice color, it is the game revealing they're the same person. Explains why it is a walkie-talkie while also explaining why it isn't William, since it speaks on the same screen as William, and explains the juvenile dialogue the plush has. Okay, this theory has rotted me for weeks. Please, Unwithered, help me. Okay, Monotone Kai. Let me see. Let me see. Ben 10 screams. You're looking for something to be read out. I'll give him a go. Okay. Eliza voice. While alive is interesting, right? Let me get up my all my Fredbear plush dialogue. So we've got, what did he do to you this time? He locked you in a room. Don't be scared. I am here with you. So this is the idea of like a sister figure speaking to the crying child, which I am actually already a fan of, because I think at the time of FNAF 4, there's a good chance that the plush was supposed to be Charlie. I think it would be after she was dead. I know this is before the retcon and all this kind of stuff, but I have reasons to think it. So I like already the idea of this being a sister character. So if you're just saying that Elizabeth has been around for longer than we think, I'll approach it from that direction. Tomorrow is another day. Then 4 days until the party. Tomorrow is another day. That's basically the same kind of stuff. He's hiding. You have to find him. That kind of stuff. He left without you. He knows that you hate it here. You are right beside the exit. If you run, you can make it. Hurry, run toward the exit. It is kind of interesting when you start to read these in like a kid's voice. You're right beside the exit. If you run, you can make it. Hurry, run towards the exit. He knows that you hate it here. He hates you. He left without you. Like, it's the stuff like that's like seems a bit more antagonistic if you put it in a more childlike voice, especially of like a familial figure. It is interesting. So let me see. It's too late. Hurry the other way. Someone will help. What will happen if he catches you. That could even be like a playful, sister kind of thing. Like the, you saw that whole stuff. That's interesting. Because there's also the whole thing about Elizabeth learning to pretend. But I think she does say that she learned to pretend after she died. So I don't think it would necessarily mean that, like, oh, Elizabeth was always, like, playing pretend. It is kind of cool, though. I do like it. The second frame says William. That's William. Yeah, tomorrow's another day. The only weird thing is, like, I have a Pigtail Girl's dialogue, because it's like, I just wonder, like, does that dialogue line up? The color lines up with the end, which is good. Similar kind of design. The green eyes, which is a big one for Elizabeth's character. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find this. Oh man, this is a really old video. This is like made on like Windows Movie Maker. That's crazy. FNAF. Oh, so difficult to find these things. Night 4 minigame. Sorry, Night 3 minigame. Okie dokie. This is Dawko. Okay, here he is. talking to the girl. You'd better watch out. I hear they come to life at night. You know what? This kind of ties into the... This kind of ties into the idea of her, like, trying to freak him out on purpose. TD's in the chat. Hello. You better watch out. I hear they come to life at night. And if you die, they hide your... Yeah, she's the one, like, sowing the seeds. Man, it would be crazy. Oh, my God. And the... Okay, hang on. I'm gonna... Hang on. Green screen full. This should work. No? Why would it not work? Green screen, full screen, YouTube. Let me see. I'll try and make this work. Can I see it, please? Let me see. There we go. Okay. So think about it this way, right? If this pigtail girl is the Fredbear plush. Oh my God. She's got the kind of baby-esque design. She's got the green eyes. Her dialogue is all about freaking out the bite victim. And she's right beside the flower that has the Fredbear plush's head in it, which we see in the other... that we see in the room. So this would be saying the girl with the flower in the room is the Fredbear plush, and she's right there. And this is missing its eyes, and... Whoa. Is that too crazy? Is that a big leap? I don't know, that feels like a cool connection. Because I like the idea now that we're like, oh yeah, she is a sister, and she's like bullying him. She's like Mike. You better watch out, I hear they come to life at night. And if you die, they hide your body and never tell anyone. Why do you look so worried? See you at the party, ha ha ha. She's trying to freak him out. And is that the last night the Fredbear plush talks to us? It is. Although, oh no. Yeah, he says be careful. Your sister wouldn't say see you at the party. Very true. Never mind. Yeah, she wouldn't say see you at the party. She'd see him, like, later on. Damn it. Okay, Fredbear plush is just some random bully. That's very fun. Okay, so yeah, Gibby, you're right. Because I was actually looking out for a line like that, because I know there's not a line like that with the girl with the toys, I think is the... Yeah, why don't you like my toy collection? And that's her only line. She doesn't say, like, oh, see you at the party. Which is unique. So... Okay, if she was the sister, hypothetically, if that was the intention that, like, okay, this is just not actually that important, she's just out here. What if this was supposed to show that it's, like, the nanny cam thing? And that's why none of the other kids have their lights on. Does the one in the grate have the lights on? Docko, don't tell me your head is in the way of the grate. Docko! For all new games. I also agree that Toy Girl is Susie, but I'm just saying hypothetically because a lot of people believe that and get angry if I don't bring it up. Pickle Pepper, welcome to the Unwithered. My mic is kind of low. Is that a problem? People seeing that, having that same problem? The reason... Okay, so I do actually have a reason to think that this is Susie beyond just, like, Cope. Because... Oh, this is the video that doesn't have the girl in it. So, first of all, it's Chica, right? That's the important one. She's got the same design as Susie has later on, as in, like, the red bow and the pink shirt and the blonde hair. And she's posed like Withered Chica. All the other kids are, like, sat down or just standing normally. Like, Pigtail Girl's not doing scarecrow pose. So this is either God Victim or that's actually Susie. To me, it would be weird not to, like, have the other kids be the MCI then. Right? So then we'd have 1, 2... Yeah, we'd have 5 kids here. One of them looks like Balloon Boy. So, okay, if I was to assign them, then it would be Cassidy, because she's like aggressive, and she's got like the Fredbear head. I mean, not that we know Cassidy is aggressive, by the way. This is pure headcanon. I'm just like trying to figure it out. Who would this kid be then? I guess that would be Jeremy, because he's got the Spring Bonnie toy. What does he say? Please, Docko, do not talk to... Oh, come on. Where is your plush toy? Mine is Spring Bonnie. Hey, Pickle Pepper, thank you for the super chat. Susie Spirit influencing the game. Also, hello, Pickle Pepper. My daddy says I have to be careful with him or I will pinch my finger. Yeah, Susie Spirit influencing the game. Yeah, that's a bit of arcade theory stuff. I'm personally the God Victim guy, but I like where your head's at. Yeah, so this would be, I guess, the Bonnie kid, because he got a Bonnie toy. Then this would be a kid next to a Fredbear plush flower. Are you the kid who always hides under the table and cries? I guess to be Freddy, be Gabriel, because he is the one that wears the Gabriel mask later, it looks like, because he's got this... Well, it's just jeans and green t-shirt and hair, which is not a unique character trait, but like I guess he's laughing, which is what Freddy does. Then you have Susie doing the striking the pose, and then this kid would have to be Fritz. What? Hey, yo, Fritz was Balloon Boy IRL. That's crazy. I mean, there's nothing to say that Gabriel can't be older than the rest of them. I just think it'd be weird if he was like 16. You know, makes sense why he'd be the leader. But, you know, even if we're generous and say Mike is only 12 in this game, then, you know, he's one teenager of the missing children's incident. You know, shit is falling apart here. Absolutely, Absolegs. Oh, God. Okay, well, I think that's a really cool theory. I like it. Gibby has a very good point about the sister would not say, see you at the party, because she'd see him at home, unless their parents are divorced or something. But thank you very much for remaining Monotone Kai. That was a really fun theory. I said Ben 10 Screams would be next, right? Ben 10... Ben? Benison... Benison Tennyson Scremison. Sorry, I'll go out of this. I'll go out of this search. Benison Tennyson Scremison. Bleep bloop bleep bloop, and that's honestly all I have to say. Thank you, Benison Tennyson. Amazing. Glad we did that live. Amazing. So let's see. Anyone throw their name out in the chat if they want to get their theory read. I'm just gonna go random. I'm gonna be fair as I can be. Raccoon Smiles, you got a short one? Perfect. Raccoon Smiles. Remnant works like holy water. You just add molten metal to get more remnant. Like remnant plus molten metal equals even more remnant. I like where your head is at. I was thinking about this recently, right? I was literally brainstorming it for the reboot the other day. And I was like, yeah, a soul, is it finite? Or could you theoretically just make loads of remnant? The only issue that would be with that is if you can just do it forever, then why ever have more than one victim? And you could just say, oh, it's because he's a psycho. But like, you know, you would really only need to kill one kid to harvest all the remnant. Like if he did the MCI because of Elizabeth and wanted to figure out remnant, he could have just used Elizabeth. There's nothing to say that he needed other people's remnant. Maybe there's a limit to how saleable it is. That's true. Bedtime Screams. Honestly expected a bit more of a deep dive into my theory, but whatever. Guess you can't win them all. So much fucking hate. That's really funny. So Remnant like holy water is really interesting. Yeah, I don't know if it's infinite, but I do like the idea of it not being like, okay, I've made one Freddy's worth of Remnant, and now I gotta, you know, I gotta go get more. Like maybe it is you, because obviously there's soul splitting and stuff, so there must be some amount of limit, because otherwise you would never like take Remnant out of one thing and put it into another. You would just make infinite Remnant of this one soul and like spread it around. But I like the idea that it isn't necessarily 1-to-1 with like how much metal you have is how much Remnant you have. Like you can probably increase the amount. Unlimited power. Exactly. Thank you very much, Deaver. Your FNAF video was amazing. That's very kind of you to say. I hope you guys like the second one. It's coming along well. I was doing stuff today with the 8-bit minigames, and I figured out a way of doing a particular scene which involves driving. There's a little tease for you. I wonder, could I show anything from it, actually? Just like a really quick one, and then we'll get back to the theories. Let me see, what could I show you? Just something fun to get, you know, say thank you all for tuning in. Like the stream, by the way. Hit us with some 14s or some 15s or something, like Reboot 2s. Heydays. Hit me with some heydays. Just throw in a load of heydays in the chat, and I'll show you something. Reboot 2, 8-bit. You know what? I'm going to put it to you guys. Let us add a little poll here. Everyone liked the stream, by the way. We've got 221 viewers and not even a million likes. Come on. Come on. Okay, here we go. What would you like to see teased? And here are your two options. Let me just make this a poll. Give me 2 seconds. Or actually, no, I won't. I'll make it that one. I'll make it 2 different ones. So I'll say that one. And I'll say, what should I show you? Anyone want to give me any ideas of what they might want to see? It's just going to be like 1 frame, by the way. Don't get excited. I'm not going to show you like a whole part of the video. I'm just going to give you a little rundown on something. Everything? I want to see my dad. Oh, damn. I'm so sorry. Oh, my little character is jumping around there. The minigame, the kitchen. I want to see the office. Would love to see an image from the office. My family. See, I'm wondering, because the office is in the little teaser. By the way, if any of you have not seen the teaser, by the way, you should check that out. All right, someone said the magic word. All right, screw it. All right, these are your 2 options. They're both from a related scene. Okay, we're getting a bit of puppet crawl. Okay. Puppet crawl, Alchemist Fantasy. I'll tell you something. The Alchemist Fantasy one, they're obviously related. Obviously related. Though, are they separate minigames? They are. They're separate minigames. Because I'm not doing the same minigames as in FNAF 2. Yeah, guys, you're only getting the teaser if you like the stream. That's actually part of the rules, your King of Cups. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Yeah, we only have 159 likes. We got 200 people watching. Me when Charlie 83 is in the reboot instead of 87. Bro, you didn't even come up with that theory till like after the first video. Okay, we've got Puppet Crawl 8-bit. That seems to be the one winning. All right, let's get this up. Let me see here. Do I have it? That's not it. That's a steering wheel. 8-bit. No, Reboot 2, 8-bit. Puppet Crawl. Puppet Crawl background. All right, we ready for this? Let's get this going. Now, green screen full. That's that. But let me see if I can switch this over. Whoa, there's a lot going on. Uh-oh. Oh no, how do I stop this? I'm gonna crash the screen. Here we go. There we are. So here, oh, this is all cropped and weird. Hang on. Let me get this all fixed up for you. Scale, how do I transform? Reset transform. Perfect, there we are. All right. So this is the Puppet Crawl. This is the little 8-bit background that we've got going on. Look who it is. Oh. Yeah. So we got Puppet Crawl there. I might have something else. I've got, so this is literally like this is like the background tile, right? But then we also have like the actual 8-bit sprite of the puppet, which you'll be playing as, which I can put this here. You can see we've got our little puppet, and so you'll be crawling around, and there's all these different like directions and stuff that you can walk. So you can see how I kind of work on these a little bit. Oh, that's the actual size there. They're tiny. They're like 32 bits by 30 or something like that. 95 by 81. There you go. So yeah, that's a little tease for the reboot. It's coming along well. Happy with how it's going. I can't promise any release dates or anything like that, but I don't know why I started doing that. Just started thinking about it. But yeah, so maybe later on we'll talk about the other one that I was talking about, the Alchemist Fantasy. Might have a look at that. But for now, let's get back to our theories. So let's... holy shit, are you really doing this alone? Yeah, well, I mean, okay. Alone is an interesting word, right? Because I'm not really doing it alone. Like, I'm doing it with voice actors. You know, T-Dreads is making a return, Gibby's making a return, Solid Silver, Candy Bunny, they're all coming back. I've got new voices. Rye Toast is coming back as well. Though I need to get his lines from him, actually. I need to send those on. But, you know, I'm going to get new people in as well. We're going to have a bit of fun with that. And when it comes to assets and stuff like that, like, I didn't make the animatronic assets for my, like, 3D. Like, obviously this is my face, so I was just, you know, that you're looking at right now. But you know, the 3D assets, like the Unwithered models or the Withered models or the toy models or the puppet model or like the, I don't know, the Candy Cadet model, little hint there, little tease, you know, they're from community made sources, because the FNAF community is amazing, especially when it comes to Blender and 3D animation in general. So like, I'm not making it alone. I'm making it with the help of a lot of people's hard work and effort before me, you know. Or even like if I need a fridge, I have a Blender add-on which has a big model library, and I can look up, you know, fridge, and hopefully there's one there that matches what I'm looking for. So I'm compiling it, but I'm not from the ground up, you know, coding everything from the base and working up. I'm using a lot of assets that I've been lucky enough to be able to use because of the community. So not alone, but in terms of like who's making the Reboot 2 video, I'm making the Reboot 2 video. Tarek, yeah, so basically alone. Anyway, let's get back to this. Anyone want their theory? I'll just pick a name at random. I'll close my eyes and then I'll open them again when someone has a theory. You might say he's just putting the pieces together. Exactly. Let's see here. Okay, I close my eyes and they're open. Cement Eater. Great name. All right, Cement Eater. You're the first person my eyes landed on. The Nightmare-owned plushies in the modern games represent the storyteller in the games. This is cool. Yeah, this is, I think, this T-Dreads has been talking a little bit about this kind of idea that, and Gibby as well, that if Fiona is the thing running the Pizzaplex, is the modern version of the storyteller, then she would be connected in the basement through all the like puppet wires. And the puppet wires lead to stuff like recreations of rooms in Help Wanted, which was something that T-Dreads, or Impulse Evan found it years ago, and then T-Dreads kind of brought light to it recently. So Nightmarion representing Fiona is very interesting. It's kind of odd, but it's also quite cool. So I think if the modern version of the storyteller is Fiona and Nightmarion represents Fiona, that's cool. I personally think it's a strange choice for her to be represented by, just because I don't think anything like kind of leading up to that represented her much as like the puppet. You know, Jackie is kind of related to the puppet, but not even in a direct enough sense that I'd be like, oh yeah, Fiona is Jackie, is puppet, is Nightmarion. So I kind of like a little bit more if David is the one you shouldn't have killed and Nightmarion is the face of UCN and he says wickedness made of flesh, whatever. And David has ties to kind of the whole Jackie thing because he was the mimic in Jackie. Then it makes a little more sense once we kind of get up to the future and we're using that imagery for him. And also if he's related to the crying child who looks like Nightmarion or who looks like the puppet, you know, there's a lot more reasons for it. But yeah, it's a really cool idea. Jackie, yeah, the big clown Secret of the Mimic animatronic. All right, who's next? I'm gonna close my eyes and you just throw out some names. And open my eyes. Clyde Collins. My theory has the name Leonardo Romano. Leonardo Romano. For me, Glitchtrap is some kind of M3 created by William Afton to continue his legacy post-mortem. Yes, so I think Rytoast currently believes that it's Glitchtrap is going to be shown to be an M3. I agree that the idea of Glitchtrap being one of William's kind of plans or one of his ways towards immortality, if that is part of his reason for doing what he does in the games, then Glitchtrap is a really cool way of representing that. You know, that he kind of found out about this mimic technology, probably from meeting Fiona, or at least finding out everything about Edwin, and then at some point worked out his own version of the mimic, which copied himself, which is why it looks like the older version of Spring Bonnie, because it's from that era. It's actually from way earlier in the timeline than we would have thought. You know, because Glitchtrap originally, people were like, oh, it's Scrap Trap. He's been scanned in, like his animatronic parts and stuff. Whereas I think it'd be cool if William actually, like, used a mimic to, like, teach to be himself, to kind of keep himself going after death in some way, shape, or form. It's a really cool theory. I like it a lot. I don't know if we have a lot of evidence for it yet. Yeah, his plans never succeed properly, which is very true. But thank you very much, Leonardo. I'm Italian. Alberi de Legno. Ciao, sono Christian, sono Italiano. I don't know what I just said. I hope it's not, it's not bad. I realized I didn't actually double check what I was saying there. But Alberi de Legno, thank you for the reference. Did I ever get it right? Was it Alberi de Legno or anything like that? Defeke boom. I'm cancelled. Oh no. I hope not. Well, if I am, I don't even know. Delegnu. Okay, MC exists. You gotta leave soon. Let's get you up. MC exists. Let's check it. MC exists. What's the name under MC exists? What name did you submit with? Uncancelled Truth. I hope I'm uncancelled. Ben 10 Screams apparently has a second suggestion. I mean, it took a long time to go through their last one. MC underscore exists. Perfect. There it is. All right. I think Shadow Freddy is bite victim or in some way related to it. Ah, Poppy, thank you very much. Welcome to the Classics Theorists. Very good. So I think Shadow Freddy is a bite victim or in some way related to it, possibly through agony. My reasoning is agony seems to haunt areas where very tragic events happen, and I'd say a kid being bitten by Fredbear would definitely cause agony. Agreed. Shadow Freddy in FNAF World has a broken jaw, which could be associated with the bite. Agreed. Shadow Freddy's model has just a purple withered golden Freddy, which is another association with him and Fredbear. Agreed. Nightmare has a brain in his head that is missing its front half. And his knight in the files of FNAF 4 is called Shadow Freddy. Let me check that about Nightmare, actually. Is that true? That he's missing half his head? There's no way. I don't know if I'd say he's missing the front of his head. I know it isn't. I know it is an endoskeleton, and it does look like a brain, in fairness. But I don't know if I'd say it has any damage to it necessarily. But it is still interesting imagery anyway. Let me see. I'll show you here. Green screen full. YouTube. I have to change to this one. There we go. Yeah, so this is the picture in Nightmare in game. This is the help wanted one. So I don't see anything there that would indicate that it's damaged. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Anyway, so that's that one. And then there's more to it. So Nightmare bite victim sees the OG animatronics as his friends, so follow me could be him trying to help his friends out. Interesting. The person that was bitten FNAF by Freddy in the FNAF movie was stuffed into a purple Freddy suit. That's interesting, yeah, because that's the girl that takes care of Abby. That's so far all I have, but I'm trying to find more so I can make a video on it. Absolutely do, MC Exists. I do really like all that. I think I've heard similar ideas proposed before. If Scott was never planning a golden duo sort of situation, it would be interesting if that was like his answer, is that we didn't realize it, but like Shadow Freddy was one of the kids, and it just sort of clears up Golden Freddy being a separate thing and Shadow Freddy. It's interesting because then you have a situation where the Follow Me minigames are where the FNAF 3 are where the Happiest Day minigame things show up, the hints, and all he has to do is find them, is what the yellow eyes say in FNAF World. All he has to do is find them. So I guess if he's walking around the pizzeria, so he doesn't always go through there, is the one thing. Shadow Freddy God Victim. Shadow God Victim. Quite like that. That's kind of good. Shadow Freddy is straight up Golden Freddy and the Twisted Ones. That's true. Elle's House by the Sea, I've not. Hey, Tobes. Thank you very much for the donation. I'm sorry, I don't know what that currency is. I'm so sorry. I gotta get your thoughts on this. The Unwithered Truth. What are your thoughts on game theory and their FNAF theories nowadays? I was actually only speaking to someone about game theory today, actually. Like, I have all the respect in the world for the game theorists. I would not, I literally would not have a job if game theory didn't exist, because they kind of started the whole theorizing thing, or at least popularized it to the point where I discovered it. And I think a lot of people did. So I would never, criticize their theories or anything like that, because like they are not saying I would never criticize their theories, because I think anybody is open to criticism on any theory or video they make. But I more so mean like they will always hold that special place as the kind of the genesis of FNAF theories. The only thing I'd really say, because anyone makes a theory about anything, it's just a theory. It's a game theory, I didn't even mean to do that. It's just a theory. It's a bit of fun. You can poke fun at like the prediction of Dolly having like remnant hands, and William Afton working in Fall Fest to kill kids with Dolly and all this kind of stuff. And like, yeah, it's silly and it's whatever. It's not very evidence based, but it's it's fine. It's a fun idea. I'm not gonna be mad at anyone else. If anyone else made that theory, nobody would care. No one would be like, this is the end of the FNAF theorizing. Oh my god. Because it's just a theory. It's a bit of fun. The only thing I will say about the latest videos, and this is not necessarily a criticism, more of an observation, and it could be intentional or it could be not, so I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but a lot of the thumbnails and titles as of late, mostly the thumbnails for the game theory stuff around Secret of the Mimic, were either very misleading or straight up just completely wrong. So, you know, again, it might be a case of like the production of those videos might be over a certain amount of time, or they have to be either done quickly or they have to be done well in advance. And so they don't necessarily have all the answers to their theory before they make the thumbnail. So the thumbnail just happens to end up being that way. And then you watch the video and you can understand. But I think a couple of times, a few of us have watched those theories, you know, whether it be together or apart. And we're always like, what did that thumbnail have to do with the video? And I don't think it's even necessarily a clickbait thing, because some of the thumbnails have been clickbaity. The other times they've just been very odd choices to make for thumbnails. But if it is a clickbaity thing, I wouldn't be a fan of that, because I think it's not necessary to mislead people to get them to watch your video out of rage bait or whatever. But also, I'm not going to accuse them of that because I don't know what their system is. So that'd be my only kind of current thought on game theories. I hope that would change. But also, it's not the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, some of their latest theories have been silly and fun, but like, I made a video where the Mimic is a mimic robot and also a ghost at the same time, and William killed the most important character off screen. So, you know, who am I to talk? So yeah, that's my current. Thank you for the question. Let me see. KW904. I'm just seeing it because you've tagged me there, so I'm gonna do your one. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Also, by the way, not to just move on from MC Exists, but yes, you did mention that the bite victim would be helping the kids and follow me. I don't know what would be helpful to them being led to the safe room rather than being led to the like hints or whatever. Unless he knew that to free himself or to free the kids, they had to be out of their suits, which could be true. So if he was Shadow Freddy, that would make sense. And he would be in FNAF 3 as well because he's in the office. But yeah, thank you very much, MC Exists. That's a good theory. I do like it. I also just do think he has more association with Golden Freddy, which then associates him with Shadow Freddy and Nightmare. But anyway, KW904. So I have a theory about how David died, since the game seems to be very different from the book. I think David was the start of William starting to scam Edwin because he found out about the Mimic and used the Mimic to kill David. There could be a possibility as well that David is the one you shouldn't have killed, but the problem is that David has died around maybe 4 or 5 years old. So you may or may not have seen my last video, which was about this, basically. So I don't know why it's an issue if he died at like 5 years old, why he couldn't be the one you shouldn't have killed. We don't really know much about them, and they're also a ghost for like 40 years. So either way, ghosts are weird in terms of like if age is necessarily an important factor to their ability to do stuff as ghosts. But yes, I agree that if William killed David, it was because it was the starting to scam Edwin out of his business, and he wanted to have Edwin's life fall apart, so he killed David. I think there's a lot of parallels between Charlie's death and David's death, where William pulls up, the kids left outside, the robot that's meant to protect them and take care of them is inside, William kills them, and then the puppet comes out, or the robot comes out and finds them. So that would be the Mimic in David's case and the puppet in Charlie's case. And that's in, you know, you can talk about if that's a big stretch, which it might be, but I could also see that being a reveal. So yeah, I'm totally on board of this theory. Watch my video and see if I've represented it well. So yeah, there you go. Let me see. I think I said Ben 10 Screams might. Let me see if it's another Benison, Tennyson, Scremison. No, there must be a different name that goes by Ben, because there it is. It's Benison, Tennyson, Scremison with a capital B. Oh no, sorry. Bennington, Tennington, Scremington. I don't know, I just like all the attention at this stage. Bleep bloop again. God damn it, Ben 10 Screams. If only you weren't my biggest fan. You're my number one fan, so I can't even say nothing. Oh dear. All right, I'm at the bottom of the list, so I'm just going to read out the very last thing that was submitted. This was like 3 seconds ago. What? Okay. I don't know if there's anybody that covered it. Is the name or username? Basically, I've been thinking the shadows in the stream, and I thought, what if Shadow Freddy was the bite victim? Then what the fuck is RXQS Shadow Bonnie? And I think I have it. It's the Springlock victim that got the suits discontinued and thrown in the bin, as mentioned in FNAF 3, if memory serves, and they stuck around all this time. Yeah, so some people at one stage thought that the Springlock victims were both the shadows. They thought they were both Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. I think there was only one Springlock victim, which was at Circus Baby's Pizza World, either before it opened or the same day that Elizabeth died, because of the FNAF 3 tapes talking about a Springlock incident on night 4, and then on night 4 in Sister Location we find a suit that was discontinued because of an accident and that it was too dangerous to use. People argue with me about the wording of that sentence, but I think it makes a lot of sense because also it's in the game named Sister Location, which is where the Springlock failure was supposed to have happened according to FNAF 3. So if Scott made a game called Sister Location and on night 4 put a Springlock suit in it which mentions a failure or something bad having happened with it, and it's not related to the Sister Location with the Springlock suit that something bad happened in it mentioned in FNAF 3 on the same night, then I think I'll just quit. So on your theory, if RXQ was the Springlock victim, that would be interesting. I don't know, because I do think that the Springlock suit is most likely, if it's anything, to be Springlock, a Spring Bonnie Funtime, basically. Because if you take the idea that the Afton family are what the Funtimes are made of, you've got a bear who has a little bunny on his hand talking to him in his ear, which is like William speaking through the Fredbear plush on the crying child's hand. You have a fox, that's Foxy, that's Michael. You have Baby, which is obviously Elizabeth. And then you have a motherly figure who's a dancer, who's like, why do you hide inside your walls when there is music in my halls? You know, that whole thing. That's kind of like woman speaking to, like wife speaking to husband longingly. Oh, I kind of wish, you weren't so obsessed with your work, kind of thing. Anyway, so if that's the case, then we're just missing William, and you could say he's the Bonnie plush on the hand, but I think if there was a Funtime Spring Bonnie, it would make sense. It would make sense if that was the Springlock suit that got decommissioned, and is also the one that Mike gets put into, which is kind of interesting, considering what happens to him at the end of the game, which is kind of like a reverse of what happened to his dad. So Miles the Prower, thank you very much for your donation. Mr. Truth, what do you think of the FNAF Dead by Daylight chapter? I thought it was pretty cool. I never really knew anything about Dead by Daylight before I played it. I knew it was like highly anticipated, but I thought it was fun. I played a little bit of it, and it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. If you can have Freddy and Fredbear, you can have Bonnie and Spring Bonnie. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Gibby. What do you think about William driving over David? Could have been that as well. I just think it works better with the security puppet parallel. But yeah, if RXQ is the Springlock victim, it would make sense if it was Spring Bonnie and then it looks like Toy Bonnie, kind of. You could say, oh, well, that's just what, like, because the Funtimes kind of look a bit like the toys anyway. So maybe the Springlock, that's why it's got different teeth, because it's the Springlock suit. It doesn't have teeth in the game, to be fair, but it does just kind of have that like blank face. You can imagine with like a mask on top of that, you could get those teeth. Counterpoint to that, my guy, what about Funtime Chica? She's there, admittedly not with the first bunch, but still. My only issue with Funtime Chica is that her faceplates don't really match up. They kind of do, but they don't really. And also, I think the implication is that Funtime Chica is currently at Chica's Party World, along with El Chip and Music Man, and maybe the security puppet, because then when you put El Chip and Music Man on stage with Chica and FFPS, you get a bonus. So that's like the Posh Pizzeria, which I think might be Chica's Party World, which Afton Robotics makes stuff for, or at least Fazbear Entertainment does. So that's another kind of like headcanon theory thing. So I don't think she's in there, but it would explain where the Chica of the group would be. So we would just be missing a Bonnie and a Chica. So that would be the case. And then Yendo is the Golden Freddy. So we'd have everyone if we included Funtime Spring Bonnie. So yeah, let me see. So if it is RxQ, then that's cool. I think it's a little bit, for me, it's less satisfying that it's just some guy that died that didn't seem to have much to do with anything, but could be cool. I kind of like it if it's like an adult that was working there, like helping the kids. Kind of makes sense for like a more like adult figure rather than like this kind of confused, angry, vengeful character. But yeah, thank you very much. Prior to the fun times, the toy animatronics were scrapped prior to the fun times. I actually think the fun times were made before the toys, because I think they were at Circus Baby's Pizza World, which I think opened before the MCI. I think Elizabeth died before the MCI did. You can see my sister location video all about that. But that being said, I think in that case, in universe, which is also why Funtime Foxy is the name of the toy version, is that like the toys were kind of based on the Funtimes, or were maybe made by Afton Robotics similarly. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. Secret Comfiness, could you do mine? At least if you don't want to do both. Let me see, Secret Comfiness. Of course, Secret of Confidence, the first line, Elizabeth time. Secret of Confidence, if you don't somehow eventually end up acquiring the rights to Elizabeth Afton as a fictional piece of IP, I don't know what you're doing, because you clearly have so much reverence for this character. It's great. Elizabeth time. Could have gone with Elizabeth Speaker as usual, but if I decided to go with Baby and Elizabeth not being separate entities instead. Okay, fun. Nice. Okay. Everyone is always so confused about where one begins and the other ends, and when she's suddenly fully Elizabeth and Pizzeria Simulator, can't speak. But the easy answer that no one ever considers is that Baby was always fully Baby and was just lying to us in Sister Location. She has a whole spiel about knowing how to pretend. She was pretending not to be Elizabeth and just stopped in Pizzeria Simulator. There's already a hint to the two being one in Sister Location. When Baby remembers the day as she, Elizabeth, died, she mentioned that she, as in Baby, smelled like cake back then, she smelled like cake back then, which has to come from Elizabeth because robots can't smell. Scott uses later releases to explain stuff from previous games that people didn't get, and after all the ambiguity in Sister Location, he went out of his way to portray Baby as fully Elizabeth in Pizzeria Simulator, as well as making it clear Elizabeth and Baby become a single consciousness in the novels. In fact, in the novels, she asked to be called Elizabeth because that's who she identifies as, and both Charlie and the narration itself call her Elizabeth from then on. She also calls out remembering her death from both point of views, just as Sister Location hinted. Okay, that's good. Also, no, the chip isn't what caused her to fully be Elizabeth. Baby talks the same way she's done throughout the whole game after you take it out. She even continues acting like usual when the MCI kicks her out of Ennard, which is way after you take out the chip. I agree. I actually don't know what the chip is supposed to be. I could see it being some sort of like restraining bolt style thing from Star Wars, because I think the implication is that she is already in Ennard and in the room with you, and so is lying when she says like, oh, it'll help me communicate with you, or it will just let him communicate with her so that she can not just be standing in the room. Yeah, so that makes sense. So if she's in Ennard and like kind of fighting to keep the others back, she doesn't want them near Michael, so she does need a way to wireless communicate with them, which is basically what she says anyway. So yeah, I don't think that's like a Baby mimic personality chip or whatever. I think that's one of those things I was talking about earlier where that's made its way into the consciousness of the community, but we've never kind of attacked that since then. Ace Ventura PhD. Yeah, I've got a few theories for you. What? Okay. Let me check what you've submitted, and then I'll go back to Secret Comfiness. But yeah, Chip is a decoy to waste your time while Ennard is dressing up. Very true. Because Ennard is standing behind Baby in that room. So I think it's interesting that if she's holding back the others from killing you to get you to the scooper room, because Ennard can kill you that night, then she does literally need a wireless way of communicating. Yeah, interesting in the novels that she does still remember from both perspectives, but is purely Elizabeth. I think, yeah, maybe Scott was going for something that was a little more like weird or a little deeper, that like, oh well, none of these kids are literally themselves, like they're sort of combined with these consciousnesses, and they have this weird out of body experience. There's it's their soul, but it's not their physical form, so they kind of lose a bit of their identity. But maybe he was worried that people interpreted Baby as like a sinister evil AI that had been written to be evil, and that Elizabeth was like trapped inside her or something. That they were like two people fighting over the one body, which wasn't the case. Like, it was the soul. It was just that it was a bit confused because it's weird being a robot. So you know what? I'm on your side, Secret Confidence, because I agree that Elizabeth is pretending the whole time. It's like the biggest part of that game. It's like a continued theme, like literally up until the very end of the game, where they are wearing the skin of another person. Like, it's all about pretend. It's all about being one thing when you're actually another. It's also about like mistaken identity as well, because Michael is mistaken for William. They think he's the killer when it's really his son, and then they wear him like a skin suit, and then like there's all this sister locations about identity. So the fact that the main antagonist has an issue with her own identity and pretending to be one thing when she's another makes perfect sense. So you know what? Approved, Secret Confidence. It is Elizabeth, and it's not because we took a thing out of her arm. There we go. Canadian Angel. My theory I sent was slightly incomplete. I have more to it that's not on the forum. Should take a peek at mine once you're done with the current two. You've got it. Secret Canadian Axolotl. Thank you very much. Let me check up. Let me see if Ace Ventura actually... Oh, whoa. Okay. There's a few here. I might not get to all of them, but let me see. Hydration check. Thank you, Gibby. Let me see. Actually, I'm going to put this on... Guys, we gotta get these likes up. We've got 300 people watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's get us up to somewhere near 300 likes and get some more heydays in the chat. And I might put out some more teases. Let me see. So I will get to Canadian Axolotls now in a minute. I'll just also make sure I haven't missed anything. Miles the Prower, I talked about him. Counterpoint to my guy, we talked about him. Thank you. Did I say upgraded membership to Unwithered Truther? Message retracted. Oh, I must have missed that one. I apologize to whoever that was. I don't know if that was an accident or if you changed your mind. I don't know, but thank you very much anyway. For however long it remained. So let me see. Ace Ventura. You've got a couple here, so I'm going to speed run them. Mangle in FNAF 4 minigames is a prototype Funtime Foxy. We, the audience, thought it was Mangle from our narrative POV. The name Mangle was mentioned as the staff call it in 87. FNAF World Funtime Foxy has a hook and is implied to be Mangle before Mangled. I don't think the Mangle in the room is a prototype Funtime Foxy. If it is, I think it's very small and odd. I think it's more likely that, like the toys outside, the Funtime Foxy and the toy animatronics were based on toys, and that the feature of the Funtime Foxy was that it could be pulled apart, or that it's Bite Victim influencing things through the field, and it's just a regular toy that's been torn up and broken, and that it's like it's like to show that the child maybe was angry or messy or whatever, or it's to hint that the sister is the Fredbear plush who says that I'll put you back together, which is the first thing we hear Ralph say about Mangle, which is a take apart put back together attraction, and it's supposed to be linking those two thematically about putting things back together, so the sister puts the Mangle back together. Anyway, so I don't think it's a prototype on the floor, but I do agree that Funtime Foxy is the name of Toy Foxy, as in the FNAF 2 one. That becomes Mangle. If it is a prototype, Funtime Foxy explains what it's doing in the room, meaning Elizabeth died before Bite Victim. I disagree because of what I said earlier about the MCI and sister location, the order they happen in. Missing people in girls' room with the Mangle toy. FNAF 5 has Funtime Foxy again. Circus Baby Pizza World was only open one day. So, missing people in girls' room with Mangle toy. I guess what you're saying is that kind of relates us back to Sister Location in that there's a missing girl with a Mangle toy on the floor, and FNAF Sister Location has Funtime Foxy, so you're relating to Elizabeth. We know Fredbear and Fredbear Pizza. Whoa, I got a dono. Oh, hang on, I'm missing it. Miles the Prower, could you please check out mine when you're done after Axolotl? Also, the membership notification was me. Oh, thank you very much, Miles the Prower. Did I? Yes, okay, I will do that. No worries. So, we know Fredbear and Fazbear Pizza both had brands in 1983. The main four are plushies. The three toys are toys. Chica Missing Beak. So, when Sister Location, it tells us Circus Baby Pizzeria was already open or soon to be open. Oh, so you're saying Elizabeth died first. I don't know. My thing is with the Springlock suit. I think that's the most, like, to me, is one of the most definitive pieces of evidence of Elizabeth, or at least that Springlock suit with Circus Baby's Pizza World came before the MCI, but after 83. Mr. Helpy, thank you very much for donating. If each FNAF game clarifies something from the last, could we get an idea of Midnight Motorist by just looking at theories from before FFPS? Just an idea. That is a good point. Crosscore, thank you very much. Oh, you've got a new little logo. I like that. Might share this. Help Wanted 2 Grave Order as release order. Yes, okay, I'll talk about that in a little bit. I've got a couple of things to go through, but I will talk about that. Gibby and I spoke about it briefly on his, well, not briefly, probably for like an hour on his podcast, ABCD. And I will talk about the Midnight Motives thing as well. So let me just keep going with this. Mike canonically does not find the private room, and by extension the FNAF 4 rooms. For all he knows, the FNAF 4 rooms might just be his nightmares. FNAF 4 gameplay has to be Mike due to the FNAF 1 phone call reference. Yeah, so if Mike is the dreamer, which you're saying kind of has to be the case, and I would agree, he does not canonically find the private room, which is true, so he may never find out that they're experiment chambers. That's true. It depends on what he knows about what happened to him. So he might just think that it was horrible nightmares and never knew his dad had handed it. Sister Location takes place after FNAF 3, which is why we see it burnt down frights. Explains why Funtime thought Mike was his father. He's 30 plus. Oh yeah, he's 30 years older. Looks like an older man. That's true. Which means, again, it's so funny when people bring up theories and I'm like, yeah, I was thinking about this for the reboot. Which might mean that Mike was scooped after 3, which explains where Ennard could have been hiding. Ennard could have been hiding. And how Mike survived looking like a zombie for like 30 years. Yeah. So I think right now Sister Location happens after 1, before 3, but the only issue I have is if Mike is the fright guard and he says there's only one thing left to do, I'm going to come find you. If he was the fright guard, he would either think William was dead, like as in he'd already burned him down, or he wouldn't, in which case I think he'd already be looking for him if he'd already burned him. So that's the only issue that I have with that idea. Hey, good afternoon. How's it going? Pretty good, Ariel. Thank you very much for donating. Could you please take a look at my quick theory / question? Absolutely, I will. Just give me a few minutes to go through what I've got lined up. I have to keep track of all these people that I'm supposed to go look at. So let me see. The logbook has FNAF 3 references, but also Sister Location. That's true. I mean, Circus Babies would exist at that stage. So I guess maybe you could argue, would they have references to it? Well, I mean, all the other ones have closed down as well, so you could have references to it being closed. Blacklight Vent Repair has a random spring trap in the vents. Huh. I did not know that. And all other animatronics sans Ennard are taking it apart in the scenery. Interesting. I mean, technically, he would be Springtrap regardless. Well, yeah, because I think Sister Location has to happen after Follow Me. So he would still technically be Springtrap at that time, but he wouldn't be... I mean, he wouldn't be anywhere near Ennard, I suppose. But I know what you mean. FNAF 3 phone guy calls take place during the daytime of FNAF 2. The only time Face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza line is referenced. Huh. Could you please check mine, pretty please? It's the longer one I accidentally submitted to. Okay, I will do, Lainey. No worries. Let me see. FNAF 3 phone guy calls take place during the daytime of FNAF 2. That's MCI 87. Well, because the Springlock suit's sealed behind the wall in the FNAF 1 location. Because I have thought about this before, but the issue is when Springtrap gets put behind a wall in FNAF 1. I do like the thought, though. Because if that was the case, it would be a lot cleaner. Maybe if there was no DCI and the MCI just happened when FNAF 2 was happening. Oh, put some heydays in the chat. If that was the case, it would be really clean. Because we'd get to hear what we heard in the last game, but from the other perspective. I'd like to look at this more, because it is MCI 87, which is like death to a FNAF theorist nowadays, but I will have a closer look at that. The yellow suit and the spring bunny suit in the FNAF 2 and 3 calls are the same suit, referencing the same event. Again, that's my issue with the DCI. Even if it's not the DCI, I think it's an issue of the storytelling if anything happens again in that way, because it's like the exact same event is repeating and nobody... I mean, like, they don't have to necessarily call it out, but it's kind of odd if it is just the same thing and it's not important the second time. It's just an odd choice. Sonic Boy the Master, hey dude, would you mind reviewing my theory? I will now in a bit. I've got a big old line of people that I gotta go down. Ace Ventura, thank you very much. Let me clarify, it's using MCI 85 and Afternoon was hiding 87. Okay, so my issue is that I think the FNAF 3 phone guy calls... So, okay, yeah, you still could have it be the FNAF 2 location, but just about the DCI. But I think they would probably... Unless they take place over the course of years and the FNAF 2 stuff... Well, I don't know. Yeah, I have to look into it a bit more. Because if it is MCI 85, then you'd be saying that the FNAF 3 phone calls are not about the MCI, they're about the DCI. Which, again, I think would be weird considering the catharsis of FNAF 3 is putting springlocking Afton. And if none of the games tell us about the MCI, then it's kind of weird. Pickle Pepper, they're addressed to the daytime staff. So, yeah, rip whether... What? WC. What does WC mean? Am I an idiot? They're addressed to the daytime staff. So yeah, they are addressed to the daytime staff, but... Water closet? What? Withered Circle? I'm not Withered Circle. My lord. Wilcare? Rip to your bathroom. Water closet. What? I absolutely love... I absolutely stunlock this as the stream right now. Please, Pickle Pepper, tell us the truth. The unwithered truth. Withered Circle? That wasn't Withered Circle's theory. I'm years behind on FNAF 4, so I wonder if my theory submitted under this name has already been proven or disproven. I will get to you, Christopher. I will, don't worry. Let me see. Let me go back up. I have Canadian Axolotl. But thank you very much, Ace Ventura. That was a long one, but there was some good stuff in there, and I would like to revisit those FNAF 3 calls once I've done a bit more on the reboot too. Mike Afton isn't the guard of FNAF 3. No! And FNAF 3 and Sister Location might take place around the same time. That's what the last guy said. The context in which Sister Location Custom Night cutscene shows Springtrap where Mike's talk to him, to me, reads more as Mike going to look for him after Fazbear Frights is already burnt down. Additionally, nothing the ad for Fazbear's Fright other than the Fazbear branding would entice Mike to apply to look for William. That's fair. That last point is very fair. Yeah, like why would he think that William might get brought in after he shows up? It would be a shame if he's not the FNAF 3 guard, because it would kind of, again, it makes FNAF 3 just that little bit less important. And well, no, because he's got to be the night guard, right? Because he's in the logbook. He's the logbook guard. Unless he's one of the guys helping run the place. But he's the night guard in the logbook, so I'm not sure. I do know what you mean, though. Because it's a totally valid way of reading that cutscene in Sister Location where he goes, "Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it." My only question then is, like, why did it take... if that's 2015, why did it take Mike until 2015 and beyond to go to do the Sister Location stuff that his dad asked him to? Like, I don't know what about Springtrap getting out would change, because unless he like went to talk to Michael or he called him on the spirit phone. But I like Mike being the FNAF guard or the night guard in FNAF 3. But also, I totally get why some people don't buy it. And it's a very valid reading of the Custom Night cutscene. But thank you very much, Canadian Axolotl. Yeah, I might have to look at it again. But thank you very much. Miles the Prower. Thank you once again for going again. Miles the Prower. There you are. If the Dead by Daylight chapter uses the idea that Springtrap we see was taken from a different universe to keep the lore consistent, like how the FNAF timeline still happens even though it's taken before FNAF 3, then technically we can't use anything in it to help out our theories. I think from a meta perspective, it's a little dicey to use it, simply because it's another developer working with Scott, and we don't anymore kind of have the assurance that Scott fully oversees every little detail that goes into these things to make sure they're lore accurate. However, yes, you are correct that technically, because it's another universe, we don't know for sure that it makes sense, that it's the same as the other universe. But I think by like franchise logic, usually what it is they are pulled from a perfect copy of the timeline that only splits off when he gets taken away. So I think the idea would be he is Springtrap from FNAF 3 or from Follow Me or whatever, but it's just that anything before that you can use, but nothing you can use comes later. Like if it said something about, I don't know, about Scraptrap, it wouldn't really make sense because he wouldn't have become Scraptrap because he got pulled into this version of reality. But I also agree that it's kind of dicey either way, whether it's an in-universe or out-of-universe reason. It's a secondary source at best. But thank you very much for submitting. Mr. Helpy, thank you very much. So this was about the Midnight Motorist looking to clarify something. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I agree, and that's kind of how I want to look at it and how I approach it, and why I usually land on Bite Victim Runaway, Mike Couch Person, Charlie Death, just purely based on the original itself, not even taking Midnight Motorist into account. Not Midnight Motorist, 5 Laps at Freddy's into account. Because what could Scott possibly be trying to tell us with that minigame? What was the kind of questions going on at the time? It was like, what is the deal with the Bite Victim? What's the deal with like the nightmares? And when did each character die? And so if you're putting Afton into a house which has a similar layout on the roadmap to Fredbear's, and you've got Charlie dying the night before, and there's 2 male figures, or at least 1 male figure in the house that's being locked into a room on his own, and 1 figure sitting on the couch watching TV, I think it makes sense in my brain that Scott would say, okay, well, Mike watches TV, and I'm not saying that nobody can watch TV, or you can never have a character watch TV in FNAF without it being Michael, but in terms of why do you put that there, why do you need a babysitter character at all if it's Michael? You know, if it's the mother or if it's Henry or if it's whoever, what does that tell us? And there's very little I can think of putting someone on the couch to just be like, basically tell us that like it's a guy and that William's rough on him. I don't see anyone else to put there but Michael, especially if you're trying to be like, you know, oh, maybe Michael wasn't as bad as he was in FNAF 4, or it wasn't as bad as he seemed, or maybe, I mean, if you want to go like a route where bite victim survived the bite, I don't think he's in any state to run out the window, but maybe that was part of it. But I think it is a good way to approach Midnight Motorist, so I absolutely agree. Oh, I'm getting some more super chats. I will answer these in just 2 seconds. Thank you very much, though, for your donations. Crosscore, the help wanted 2 grave order as the release order. I talked to Gibby about this a little bit, so I recommend going and checking out his stream where we just discuss Charlie 83 and kind of discuss it in relation to Charlie 87 and the help wanted 2 grave order and all this kind of stuff. I am not so certain that the grave order, like what the purpose of telling us the release order is, because like, for example, kind of like what I was talking about with Midnight Motorist, why do we need to know in Help Wanted 2 what order the kids moved on? It would make more sense to me to tell us what order they died. But even still, it's like, do we need to know which of the MCI died first or second or third or fourth or fifth? Or do we just kind of only really care about bite victim Charlie and Elizabeth? And Elizabeth's not even there. And do we care enough to be like, Chica's soul moved on like 30 seconds before Fritz's soul, and Fritz's soul moved on a few seconds before Jeremy's soul, or whatever. So I don't, and also if it was like a happiest day thing, they should have all moved on at the same time, you know. Thank you very much for more super chats. I will read these now in just 2 seconds. I am just trying to make sure I'm not missing anybody else's theories in the past that have sent super chats. So thank you very much. I will absolutely get to your super chats. Ariel, yes, let's take a check out of Ariel Alvarado. My theory came from the Secret of the Mimic ending 1. The box that the data divider was placed in looks suspiciously similar to the box from FNAF 4. Scott said the contents within the box changed, so maybe there's some correlation there. Interesting. So this is the Secret of the Mimic ending 1. Mimic all endings. Let me share screens here. Dual screen. Nope. Green screen. Here we are. All endings. Let's have a look.
Would you like a story to help you sleep?
Ooh, that's a bit loud.
Hold on. Someone's missing.
No.
David?
Oh, here we are. Okay.
A job well done.
Oh. Oh, I see what you mean. I mean, it's a double hatch box. So basically what they're saying is let me look it up here. You could not close the lid on that box, but I think that would be relevant to this theory. Now, in fairness, what's similar about it? It's got 2 latches, and it opens at the back. I mean, it does have these 2 things here. It doesn't have like a little handle. It's kind of cool though, because if the data driver has the fix for David on it, which is presumably what Fiona wants it for, it has the blueprints for the Mimic. And if that does tie into the FNAF 4 box, ooh. Well, that would, if this is the FNAF 4 box and God David or some version of Greg Bot or whatever is true, that the Mimic is David is Crying Child is Gregory, then this would say that like the new thing that's in the box now is like the solution to David. You know, it's cool. I like that. That's fun. Like, it's not so much of a dead ringer that I'd be like, oh yeah, you've cracked it. But it is, it is a cool call out because we really don't need to put it in anything, right? Like, there's really no need for us to put it in a box at all. Like, we could have just put it, you know, this animation could have just been us putting it in this machine. But it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. I did swatch over. That's cool. Cool. Thank you very much. That's nice. I'd look into that a bit more, Ariel. See what you can dig up. That's nice. All right. Thank you very much, Ariel. Laney the Witch. I will get your next theory. Laney. Sorry. Laney the Witch. Don't worry. I know Laney. I know the name. I think I knew someone called Laney. Anyway, I think Edwin Murray. Oh, there is two of them. You said it was the longer one. Oh, okay, I found it. I actually believe Edwin Murray Sr. founded the Fazbear Entertainment. Okay. Let me elaborate. What if William and Henry were actually employees in Edwin Sr.'s Fazbear Entertainment, and when he died, they bought it from Edwin? We know. The Edwin we know. He's going to be referred as Edwin Jr. throughout this post. Okay, cool. Maybe they convinced him that this would help his work get lighter, and Edwin Jr. sold it to them. All of these actually explain why Edwin Sr. warned Edwin Jr. about William and Henry. He might know something about them, something unsettling. So that means Murray Costume Manor was already a thing, and Edwin Jr. did not convert something else to it. This would explain why the original Freddy's gang we already know exists in MCM, Chica, Foxy, Freddy, etc. It already was a Murray business. Another thing that bothered me about Secret of the Mimic is the fact that there is a prototype Freddy's location under the Murray's land. It's not like that restaurant was going to open under an already existing facility, right? For example, if I were opening a coffee shop, I would try to lay out I had in mind at the coffee shop, not under someone's house or company building or something. Unless Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Project was already in development when Edward Sr. was alive, and our boys William and Henry picked it up from there. And our boys William and Henry picked it up from there. Also, I'm not going to talk about my silly little theory, which contains William killing Edwin Sr. Oh. This would also explain why they made changes to things that were already there, like scrapping Fiona's characters, which Edwin was so upset about, and why those characters weren't around to begin with. It's a long one, but I just wanted to point it out. I think you're definitely onto something with Edwin Sr.'s relationship with William and Henry, because I had a whole section about it in my Secret of the Mimic video, and then I was like, this is not really relevant to the whole David thing. I do think he had prior dealings with them. I think Edwin Sr. worked closely with Fazbear Entertainment and either got burned by them or was smart enough to stay away. I don't think Edwin Jr. would have sold it because it seems so separate of an entity. And I think it is more so that the two companies had a prior relationship, and Edwin Jr. kind of rekindled that friendship, you know, or at least William and Henry tricked him into doing that, and he ignored what his dad warned him about them. He told them, don't go after them, they're snake oil salesmen. But I agree that they've been working together for a long time. I think it'd be kind of cool if Edwin Murray Sr. was one of the people that founded MCN, or founded Fazbear Entertainment, and then he left or sold the company. But I don't know if I'd say Edwin Jr. sold it. I'm not sold on that. But I do like where your head's at, and I like your thinking. And if you could find more about this, I'd look into the stuff like the Fredbear Singing Show and see if there's any, because there is a poster of that in MCM, which means they've been working with each other at least since then. So I'd be curious if there's more to that. But thank you very much, Lainey. That's really cool. Thank you. Poppy. Hello, Poppy. Hi. Let me see, Poppy. Let me check out your submission, Poppy. Said it in the last stream's VOD comments, but I'm going to repeat myself here. I believe William starts killing because of acquiring MCM in the 70s and finding Fiona and or David. Then when the crying child gets bitten, he decides to give it a try. This sounds kind of like Will Care, but it's not supposed to be lol. I just think it'd be reasoning he would need in his own head not to seem like the monster he is. So I assume what you mean is that he finds Fiona or David as mimics and then when his crying child dies, he goes, I learned about all that like mimic stuff when I bought MCM. and they've come back to life. So I can probably use the same stuff to bring my kid back to life, I assume is what you're saying. Like, he's trying to use the murdering to fuel his experiments. That's kind of one of the angles that you can go down with God David, which is like William specifically was trying to create another David on his own because he wanted to figure stuff out about Remnant, and then that would tie into the murder from Remnant and all that kind of stuff. But I like it, Poppy. I like the idea. I think that's kind of one of those predictive theories that we don't have a lot to say about yet, but in the future I could see that being the reveal, and I think you wouldn't be insane for thinking that might be down the line. Brook to Valley. Is the FNAF 3 Toy Chica minigame with the Shadow Cupcakes the tree? It seems very random detail at the time, kind of even now. So you're saying like the tree, like the spirit tree. I think so. I think Scott seems to have this like, let me look this up. FNAF 3 Chica minigame. I think that you're right. Because, I mean, you got the 5 kids, the 4 kids, and the 5th one's moving around. And then is there one on another screen? No, there's not. Does this video not go into... Oh, it doesn't go in there. Someone animated the whole minigame. It's cool. Chica minigame. Chica's party. No one's going to look at this tree. My lord. Oh, here it is. Someone says it's an unused secret room. Is it? Oh, it's this room down here. Oh, that's interesting. Let me see. Is it not the mini? Is it not the cupcake tree? Maybe it's not. There it is. Anyway, this tree here with the 3 kids underneath it. I don't know what the idea is if it's 3 kids. Why it's 3 kids under the tree. But I do think it's a good chance that it is the earliest version of the tree. Because Scott seems to have this like idea of like the tree of life, or trees representing life or afterlife or something. So I am on board for this being the tree. But yeah, thank you very much for submitting that, Brook to Valley. Sonic Boy the Master. Hey dude, would you mind reviewing my theory? Yes, I would. Sonic, or no, I wouldn't. I don't know. I never know what I would or would not mind means. It could mean anything. The secret ending of Secret of the Mimic showed us that the Secret of the Mimic, ironically, in the secret ending, we play a story by Edwin and Fiona to make the Mimic shrink into what seems to be a David and goes to sleep. This isn't the canon ending, but could possibly be how Cassie, Roxy, Gregory, and Vanessa take down the Mimic in the next game. We don't know if it's not the canon, if it is the canon one or not. I think you're right, though, that it's most likely not, though it would explain a couple of things about FNAF 4 if we wanted to make William just, like, walk in and be like, whoa, this Mimic used to live in this room. And we don't have to worry about, like, how he field magicked his way into learning how the house used to look before it burned down, that whole thing. But I think my only issue with them using the same method to bring back David in the next game is that it would be kind of anticlimactic if they just made us do this again, right? Like, from a gameplay story perspective, how disappointing would it be if in like Secret of the Mimic 2 or Security Breach 2 we're Cassie and we're holding a Faz wrench and we press a little button on a thing and it just starts like saying the same stuff, and then we just kind of do it the exact same way. Like, it could be cool if we go to like a broken down version of it, or some sort of, you know, Cassie and Gregory and Vanessa have like built a new version of it and it's kind of a little bit different or something. I think if it is the same method, we'll get new stories and it might require more effort, or it'll be more... Oops, sorry, I just dropped something. It might be more effort or more difficult or result in something else, or who knows. But I think the method is important. I think we're not just showing it for no reason. But I agree that it could be very important going forward. Either to show us the intention of that, just in terms of the story for David, or for setting up how we're going to deal with it in the next game. I just don't think it'll be 1-to-1, because I think that'd be very boring to just give us the ending of the next game in the previous game in one of the secret endings for no reason. But I agree, it's a cool way to look at it. Pickle Pepper, they're addressed to Dayside. Oh yeah, we did that one. Christopher Metcalf. Let me see. Christopher Metcalf. Perfect. William was meant to be crushed by Fredbear's jaws. What? William was meant to be crushed by Fredbear's jaws. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure Charlie was killed by Afton before the crying child was killed in the accident. You call him Evan. I think the name Evan has been pretty much debunked. You said you haven't caught up in FNAF lore in a while. The name Evan is pretty much defunct at this stage. People either believe that he is the name Cassidy, or he's named Dave. Those are the kind of two prevailing theories right now. I've always wondered, why were Fredbear's jaws so insanely powerful in the first place when there really wouldn't be need for that during normal operation? Perhaps the reason could be that Henry, who may have found out it was William who killed his daughter but couldn't prove it, decided to take drastic but subtle measures with one of the robots in hopes it would kill William the next time he worked on it. That's interesting. I don't think I'd say it's been like debunked. I've never had too much of an issue with the Fredbear's jaws thing being strong. I kind of just look at it as like, these are big, heavy, dangerous machines, and if you put like a little kid's head in the way, it's not necessarily going to be enough to block the pressure of these like big pneumatic pistons, and it's more of just like a gruesome like, oh my god, I can't believe that poor kid just got in the way of these like gears, you know. It's a mechanical kind of disgusting thought that just like, regardless, this machine is just like continuing its normal programming whether you're in the way or not, which is a very like Springlock idea as well. The idea that it might have been designed to kill William specifically, we don't necessarily have any reason to believe that it would do that of its own accord. I know you're saying it might be when he worked on it next time, maybe it would like catch him by surprise. I'm not sure if Henry is the one who is kind of characterized by that. Could be interesting if he tried. I just don't know if there's enough evidence for it that I'd say, oh yeah, this is definitely what happened. But I also wouldn't say it's been debunked, because you were curious about that. I'd say cool headcanon, but I don't think we have a lot of evidence for that right now. Maybe it will change in the future. We'll see. Let me see. Who else am I looking at? Thank you very much, Christoph Metcalf. Now, it's been a while actually since I checked up. I might have to go back a little bit. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody. Let's see here. Sorry, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Now, let me see. Now, we'll see now. I've just gotten to the part in the video where somebody donated that. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see here. So it seems like Pink Rose Night was before that. Oh no, my chat keeps refreshing. I'm losing all these donations. So Harrison James, I think, was before that. Just making sure. Yes, if I missed anybody, just yeah, Harrison James, I see your one. So if I missed anybody's, make sure you at me in the chat, and if anybody sees that I missed something, please do let me know. But yeah, let me see. Let me get to Harrison James. Can I hop in queue? I got 2 short ones. All right, Harrison, I'll take your word for it. Harrison. Okay, I assume you're just the only Harrison in here. Although it seems like only one. Jacobing it, let me see. BV Studios, missed you, okay. Henry Entertainment System. No, I did not read your one. Okay. Man, it's very annoying how YouTube will just... it will just go like, alright, you don't need to see those ones anymore. Let me see. Now. Okay, I'll get to yours, Jacobing it now in just 2 seconds. Random theory, but I think Roxy could be one of the earliest Freddy's characters timeline-wise, Deadeye specifically. Based on my understanding of Moon.exe, playing as M2 starting out as a copy of F10 in the bedroom, seems like Roxy may have been a character from Fiona's childhood, which goes on to inspire her Roxy and Foxy creations. I agree. I think Roxy might have been like from back in the 50s when the Wild West was kind of popular. I really like this idea. I think there's good evidence for it, and I think it's a cool thing, even if it's not necessarily 100% true. Don't worry, Resident FNAF Nightmare, I still have yours on my screen. Yeah, so, oh, there's another one here from you, Harrison. Yes, perfect. Another theory I have is that Moon.exe is linked to the Vanny network in Ruin, like the precursor technology. It's almost the same thing in reverse, taking real objects and digitizing them in Moon.exe, and digital objects becoming real in Ruin once you get the Vanny chip. That is cool. Yeah, I wonder how that would work. I guess I would tie that into Fiona, if she is like Sun, and she's the one that gives you the glitch permission, and then the glitch permission lets you into the doors, and then the Vanny network is kind of like that in the future. Yeah, I like that. If Fiona is the one behind Moon.exe, then she might also be the one behind the Vanny network. Because then you'd have her being Helpy, I guess. Or is that glitchtrap? Helpy is glitchtrap, right? In Ruin 2. Ruin 2 in Ruin. Let me see. So, I am missing one. BB Studios. Let me go BB Studios. And then I will go Jacobing it. BB Studios. I think the Toy Shrink is a DCI victim. Because in Save Them, Golden Freddy is there and has white eyes, implying it's possessed. I think it's possessed not only by Cassidy, but a DCI victim, because it's right next to it because it's right next to it. Also, in Toy Chica high school years, there are literally toy animatronics in the cutscenes, which would also explain why Toy Chica would represent William Afton, because this is a metaphor for the DCI, not the MCI. We also see the puppet, which is in FNAF 2, and there are 7 victims, which would make sense because FNAF 2 takes place in 1987. So in conclusion, I think the Vengeful Spirit is a DCI victim, and there are also toy animatronics in a box in the UCN office, which would explain why Mangle and whether Chica know about the Vengeful Spirit because they saw him under this theory. It would make sense. Sorry, there's no commas or full stops. It would make perfect sense why Toy Chica could represent William. Also, there may be 7 victims of the DCI because there might be a body in that Golden Freddy suit and there might be a body underneath that party table. Some people believe what's called Cassidy DCI, which is that Cassidy is what happened. Not that wasn't like the whole 7 victims, but that Cassidy was the only thing that happened there. So this could tie into that. 7 victims. There's 6 bloodstains, so I'd give you 6. 7 victims. I mean, Yeah, 1987, 7 victims. Maybe it's DCI and Cassidy. Cassidy DCI complete or something like that. Yeah, it's interesting. I think Bite Victim is probably the one you shouldn't have killed. But he has a lot of links to FNAF 2. So it would make sense that those are the kind of like related characters. Because he's connected to 7s and 14s and all that kind of stuff. But I like it. I like that idea. I think if you looked into that a little bit more, there's probably more connections or like... I think what you'd need is something from the Vengeful Spirit themselves rather than William or other characters talking about him. Though it is cool that it's Mangle and Toy Chica, or Withered Chica, that talk about him. So it's Mangle, it's Withered Chica, it's Nightmare Chica, it's Nightmare Freddy, and it's... Who else talks about him? I am remade, but not by you, by the one you should not have killed. He's here and always watching. Greetings from the fire. I have seen him. Is that maybe there's only 4. But they're all like bite victim related characters if you think FNAF 4 and 2 are linked, which I do. Cool. It's a cool theory. Jacobing it. Let's go. Jacobing it. In the Mike walking cutscenes, where is he off to? Obviously not to a Fazbear location, because it doesn't look like it's near nighttime at all, and he works the night shifts. Then you also have to question why everyone is so happy to see him. I personally think because of that, it's him coming back from FNAF 1 shifts. There are several cutscenes, and there are also 7 nights of FNAF 1. 6 a.m. rolled, and since there are many rumors, I'm working on a theory. Sorry, there are so many rumors around night guards going missing and never being seen again, his bros came to see if he'd come back. Mike, being the goat that he is, did it, and they're happy to see him. I don't know if Ennard worked any night shifts. I kind of thought it was more like they were going for a stroll because they didn't have freedom. So they just kind of walked around the neighborhood, and the people waving thing is just supposed to be like, oh, Mike is like a popular guy in his community. People like him. I guess you're saying he's got like all his friends are worried that he died, and so they kind of come out and hang out outside the building, and then when he walks out, they're like, let's go. But it does seem to be like a residential area. I always thought it was him leaving his house. But if that does have lore significance, as you're saying it might, that is interesting. I think it's more likely that he's just coming out of his house, and it's because as he's walking down the road, the robots are wearing him. It's just that he starts to decay over time. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if he was fired for odor on the last night because his body was slowly decaying through the week. So it's a cool idea. I just don't know if there's enough to be like, all those people outside are Mike's friends who are coming to the FNAF 1 building because they're worried that he might be dead. Like, there's a lot there that you kind of have to logic your way out of when the simple explanation is just like, it's supposed to be funny. It's like dark humor as the week goes on, that they're less like NPCs and they're actually behaving like they're supposed to be background props that you don't really think about because it's just showing that the world is happy. And then when they start to like, you know, it's like the Ennard inside of him dog meme, you know, it's that reaction that you're supposed to have. So I think it's not necessarily like all of those people on the street are his best buds who have come to make sure he's not dead. If that is what you're saying, I might be misreading, but I like it. I'm just gonna say that to every theory. I'm gonna like lay out all the reasons that I like disagree, and then I go, I like it. Yeah, so that is interesting, but I don't know if people would be out also at 6 a.m. But also, thank you for submitting. Let me see. Let's see here. Let me see. Henry Entertainment Systems. I have not read yours. Henry Entertainment System. Edwin is Sleepy Moon, the only character voiced by Jim Meskimen that isn't Edmund. We never see Edwin's body, and he's consistently represented by Sleepy Moon. Yes, he is consistently represented by Sleepy Moon. It does sound like him. I think it's supposed to be a robot wearing the suit, whether it's another mimic or just the mimic. And it's copying Edwin maybe because that was his character or he used to wear that suit or something. I guess my issue would be like a big thing is that he's like walking around and Edwin doesn't like can't feel his legs at the end of the game. So I think it'd be weird if he crawled down in the basement and then he started stomping around in this big, heavy costume. Maybe he's possessing it. He could be possessing it. And he is singing his lullaby. See, there's a whole thing with the moon in the basement because it also lines up with that Candy Cadet story about a mother and the child being lured into the basement by a monster. And I'm like, that's so much like by singing a lullaby specifically. And I'm like, that's so Sleepy Moon. But then did David get killed by the Sleepy Moon? Why did Sleepy Moon kill David? I thought it was like Edwin. You know. But I'm not fully against the theory. I think we just would need to know more. I don't think like if this is the end of Sleepy Moon's story, I don't think we can just infer from the information we have now that it's definitely Edwin, unless we get more about it in the future. Thank you, the Dark Devil. I will have a look at that now in a minute. Let me see. Anyone else that I might have missed with super chats, please let me know. Let me just go back as far as I can. So, various forms of doormats. Is that what various forms of... I sent a little Midnight Motorist theory into the forum if you'd like to take a look. No rush. Can't wait for the Reboot 2 episode. Thank you very much. Now, various forms of Dormammu. Why did I think it said doormats? It was cut off at the end. That's... You know what? If you're considering a name change anytime soon, various forms of doormats might work. I like Dormammu. I've come to bargain. Anyway, the mysterious pile in Midnight Motorist was supposed to be a reference to the Twisted animatronics since they bury themselves during the day. Both came out in 2017. Makes sense they'd be on the Mine of Scott. My only issue is if they are the Twisted animatronics, why are they there? What are they doing? Are they the footprints? If they're the footprints, why do we never see them? If they are there, were we supposed to read the fourth closet and go, or sorry, to the Twisted Ones and go, oh, that's what the Midnight Motorist Man was? Because then what are we supposed to think next? That's my issue with the Twisted animatronics being buried. I agree that it's a similar method and it would make sense logically, but again, from a story thing, I'm like, why though? Like, what would possess Scott to add them into the last game out of nowhere and then just be like, they'll figure it out when they read the book? I just don't know what their like role would be in that minigame and why it'd be like, oh yeah, there's one Twisted animatronic buried somewhere away from William's house the night that Charlie died. I just don't know what that would necessarily do. I don't know a lot about the Twisted animatronics, to be fair, so maybe I'm missing something. But yes, I think the logic makes sense of the pile being a mound of dirt. They bury themselves. It came out the same year. All that like matches up, and I wouldn't blame you for using that as evidence. But I just don't know then, like, okay, well then what does that mean? Like, why are they there and why are they never talked about again? But again, I'm not saying that means it's not true. I just mean I think I need more to know what that was supposed to be telling us at the time. But thank you very much. Various forms of doormats or Dormammu. Whichever you prefer. Let me see. Demented. Let me see here. Demented. Sorry, I just added myself to the pile, but I have a theory on FNAF World that I feel has some massive implications on the whole series. Okay, let's see. FNAF Ruin / Vanny system thing is literally the FNAF World flip side. Walk through glitchy objects to get to other places, and going deeper and deeper in eventually takes you to that to a lake that feels connected. There's a couple more points I could make, but this is kind of self-explanatory. Yes, so I think this is tying into stuff like arcade theory, which is Gibby's whole take on the series. It's tying into like what even is the Vanny system, and I think T-Dreads has been talking about this actually recently with the whole flip side, walking through objects and going deeper and deeper and stuff. I think there's a lot there. And if it's not literally that, it's metaphorically that. And if it's metaphorically that, I think that's still relevant to look at. But then again, I'm also the guy that always goes, why would he add this thing in just for no reason, just to make it like the other thing? So I think if they are going to bring FNAF World into the kind of more modern era and make it more important, that would be a way to do it. And that would be kind of like an explanation of what that was. Now, Aring the Ripper, thank you very much. I will read that in a minute if I don't take too long reading everybody's. I'm just really slow. But yes, that is really cool. Demented. I think I could absolutely see that going that way, because then you kind of link it into the Princess Quest thing, and that would be linked to the, maybe the Cassidy thing, and there's a lot there, and you're absolutely right that it could have huge implications. I don't know what they would be right now. I think it could be a case of they're just playing with the same kind of magic system that they've set up, wherein video games are representative of the afterlife, so he's kind of tying it in, but it's not necessarily like we're going to do anything that's FNAF World related. But, you've got Old Man Consequences in there, so they're somehow tied together. And whether that's important because David is Bite Victim, or if that's important just because ghosts go there, we don't know yet. But very, very cool, and very, very good and astute observations, Demented. Thank you very much. Let me see. Crosscore, I did go over the release order discussion in case you missed it. Curious on your thoughts on my 1991 theory that I'd submitted that expands on your 1989 theory. 1989 is not the latest release. Okay, Dark Devil, let's have a look. I have had this pointed out to me before, but I will see what you bring up. FNAF 1 of the week before happens in 99 or more. It's mostly the same evidence as 89, except it includes a reference to The Godfather Part 3. Release date 1990, home video release 91, meaning it has to happen after December of 1990 at least. It also fits the 91-96 time period provided by Game Theory. So for those of you who don't know, my very first video was a 1989 week before theory, where I basically said that the week before, the evidence in that seemed to point to FNAF 1 being in 89. I've since, I think, been convinced otherwise, or at least that it's not as concrete as I thought it was when I came up with it. This is one of the examples, which is The Godfather Part 3 coming out in 1990, and it is referenced vaguely in one line in the book, which is annoying because all the other references are to 1989 stuff. I think that someone said there's one other reference that's really, really obscure. I think is it the line about he was only one day from retirement or whatever, or just when I was out they pulled me back in. I never even knew that was a line from a movie. I thought that was just an expression, or it was one of these kind of he was 10 days from retirement. That it was one day from retirement. That whole cliche. I thought it was kind of one of those. I didn't realize it was a direct reference to something, which is why I didn't catch it. And the other thing is, it's not a direct quote. All the other quotes are quite direct and word for word, whereas that one is more like a reference or more of a vague gesture toward that line. The fact it's not word for word, I used as kind of a defense for it for a while. It could have been a thing of Scott or the author didn't know that it was a reference, like me, or it wasn't word for word, so it was just kind of more vague. Or it was intentional, and the movie date being later is important. I just think a lot of the other evidence in that video is stronger, based on the way they talk about FNAF 2 and stuff. But I will admit there is stuff in that book that I missed. But who knows if it's even canon anymore? So or if it ever was. So but thank you very much, Dark Devil. I appreciate you pointing that out. And 91 is a perfectly fine date. I think if it's not 89, it's probably 93. Not to be if I'm wrong, then it's just the other thing. But I just mean I think it would be strange if it it's strange enough if it's 89, but I don't think 91 or any of them line up with the days of the week of the calendar. 89 doesn't perfectly either, but it does if you do a little finagling with when you get those paychecks. That was a part of the video I ended up cutting out, which I regretted because it was the most comments I ever got about that. But anyway, thank you very much for submitting. Cursus Sida, not a theory, but a question. What's your favorite debunked/highly unlikely theory? Mine is probably the soul instead of Freddy being female. That's a really, really favorite one of mine. I really liked that back in the day. I thought that was really cool, and really cool not environmental storytelling, but subtle storytelling, doesn't take much, but like back in the day when that was the only game we had, that was like, whoa, we know something about one of the kids. You know, it was kind of exciting. And you know what, honestly, I would say that's probably the one. It's probably like my favorite one. Simply because of how clean it is and how like lower key it is. I like it a lot. But thank you very much, Curious Sida. Let me see. Mine is probably CC possessing the puppet. That's Laney. CC possessing the puppet. I always like the puppet being Charlie or something else. I don't love that one, but it is a totally fair one to have liked at the time. Harrison James. I did get Harrison James. I did get to your super chats as far as I remember. Jacob being it. I got you. Did you mean while I was gone? Oh, I'm rereading. These ones are older ones. Oh, hang on. Resident FNAF Nightmare. Let's look up this Resident. I'm not a theorist, but I love watching your videos on Wither Tree. Thank you very much, Resident FNAF Nightmare. That's very kind of you. That's very Ben 10 Screams of you. Let me see here. Various forms of Dormammu. Looked at that one. Just submitted mine a few minutes ago. I'm sorry for all the spam. Samuel Knit. Sorry, I know this is probably from a million years ago that you sent this, but I am basically just going through them at random, or if people send super chats, I am looking at them that way. Bless me upon this day and read out mine. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss any more super chats. Let me see. Benton Screams, I'm sorry if I missed the good night shout out, but if you're still here, good night. Let me see. Now, Drag the Ripper. Hey, Mr. Unwithered, I love your content, and I cannot wait for for Heyday. Whatever you get the chance, I would love to hear your thoughts on my theory. Absolutely. Or sorry, not. I don't know how I read that the first time. Orang the Ripper. Like I said, Drag the Ripper. Apologies. Orang the Ripper. Let me see. There we go. The Tangle in Security Breach is a mimic AI recreation of Molten MCI that is trapped into a sinkhole to protect the location beneath the Pizzaplex from glitchtrap. That's pretty cool. I like the idea of the Tangle being a kind of like a recreation of events, right? Like if we've got a Fate Fiona, God David kind of situation going on, that the Tangle might not be literally Molten Freddy, but is some sort of AI's attempt at recreating it. I like that. I don't know, again, if we have... There's so many things we don't know about the Tangle, because it's got all the kind of classic animatronics, which is probably the AR stuff in it, but it's also so much like Molten Freddy, and, you know, does it have the MCI in it? Are they still around? Are they gone? We'll get an answer, I'm sure, in Security Breach 2. But for now, I like that. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Orang the Ripper. Now... I just want to make sure. Okay, I think that's everything caught up. Good night, Ben 10 Screams. Okay, DJ Burns 2002. Let's go for it. Let's get you. DJ Burns 2002. Perfect. By the way, I'm gonna do one more check for if I didn't read your thing for your super chat. Hit me with it. Oh, B-Dub CEO. I just came up with mine an hour ago. I submitted it. It's pretty simple, but it's more you can get out of it. Okay, B-Dubs, I will check yours out next. DJ Burns got to leave soon, so I'm gonna hit up DJ Burns. Resting Tiger Theory. After watching Cryonine's FNAF 2 theory, I think it's decent, except on Charlie being in 87 instead of very well established 83. Peak. Truth nuke. I get his thoughts are not being taken as fact, hence the word theory, but he did say since Tiger Rock is linked to David and David died a few years before 1979, the codes must not mean the date of death. I find that shaky with the importance of keypads and dates in the franchise, like mentioned like the mentioned 1983 thing for the puppet plush. Just a confirmation of Tiger Rock appearing in the game, and 1987 can be for advertising. Or, since we're literally in the game where the mimic code that turned into glitchtrap is messing with memories, what's stopping the 1979 code giving us the Tiger Rock plush, meaning that the secret good ending in Secret of the Mimic is canon, and the mimic code still remembers when it finally got back its plush? Oh, that's cool. The year where the mimic was at peace before whatever happened to him, used by Fazbear Entertainment to lead his appearance onto the lead to his appearance onto the Pizzaplex. Did you do good with this? I like that, DJ Burns. Voln Rosati. My theory is interesting. My theory is complex. I'll have a look at it. I'm sure it's Happiest Day related, or maybe it's just a good reference. DJ Burns, I like that. That's cool. Because if that is the canon ending, then 1979 would be like it would be a relevant date more than just like, you know, oh, the game. You know, it's specifically about the plush, which is cool. Boo from Fazbear Entertainment. Alright, B-dubs. Let me check it up. B-dubs, CEO. Help Wanted 2 update remains mostly unsolved. And what we thought was MCM in that update is actually our first glimpse at a Prime Fall Fest gift shop. I mean, it is called Murray's Costume Manor, isn't it? It doesn't appear... Oh, wait. I'm going to open this up. Let me see. Murray's Costume Manor. Help Wanted 2. Oh, you're right, actually. It does not... It does never... Oh, well, in the... Yeah, in the Secret of the Mimic, you can see there's a sign for Murray's Costume Manor. Let me get this up. Green screen. Oh, no, never mind. So you see this? This is from Security Breach. No, what am I saying? Secret of the Mimic. Murray's Costume Manor. There's a sign on the wall there. So I don't know what it's... Unless that's just supposed to be like advertising for Secret of the Mimic. Or for... Oh my god, I can't speak. I'm very tired now. Unless that's just advertising for Murray's Costume Manor, because it is in the background here. You might be right that this is some sort of gift shop that was supposed to go out front. Because I think this is the idea, is that it's like a front-facing gift shop of some sort. Let me keep reading your theory anyway. Sorry, I jumped ahead. I think the community needs to take another look. Oh, sorry. It doesn't appear anywhere in Secret of the Mimic. The factory, it does appear as a little model in Secret of the Mimic, in Edwin's attic. The factory appears to be behind and decently far away in the Dublin Visual Puzzle. It would explain the caravan in the stained glass mural, 4625 on the mailbox, tying it directly to Fiona's death. That's true. And the update was only 6 months before the full game release, so I find it unlikely this is just a scrap concept. I agree with that as well. I think the community needs to take another look at this update, post-Secret of the Mimic, and all the theories that have come with it. I agree. I think Help Wanted 2 is quite misunderstood, but I do agree. So yes, that's good. I like that. I would just say, because of the sign in Secret of the Mimic of the little model, it would indicate to me that it's supposed to still be about Murray's Costume Manor, but I do like connecting it to Fiona's death. Now, let me see. Voln Rosati. I think I'm only going to do a few more, guys, just because I'm getting quite tired. But let me see. When Scott said that the answer to the FNAF 3 ending was interesting and complex, it struck me as both are canon, and there is a simple timeline split. And the idea I had was that the good ending timeline FNAF World happened, ensuring Happiest Day succeeded and the spirits went free. In the bad ending, however, FNAF World did not happen or did not work, and the events of Pizza Sim with Molten MCI and whatnot did take place. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so I think maybe the interesting and complex thing could be to do with, you know, oh, it actually just happens later, or it happens to only one kid but not the others, or something like that. But I do like the idea, regardless, that there is this kind of split timeline where I agree it did not happen in Pizza Sim or sister location. I think those games take place in like the non-happiest day timeline. Or at least, well, I suppose this location wouldn't have to. But yeah, Pizza Sim does not take place in the happiest day timeline from FNAF 3. Very cool. Thank you very much, Vuln Rossetti. That was interesting and complex. Somewhat dweeb. I got 2 of them. Withered, Bite of 87, and Mimic. Oh boy. Alright, somewhat dweeb. Come on. There we go. Michael Afton might be the Mimic. I don't actually think this, but have fun with it. David Murray was born in 1969. He died at 75 at the age of 6, supposedly because F10N4 wants David in M2. David was brought back as M2 between 75 and 79. At some point, M2 takes up after Edwin's violent behaviors and kills Edwin. After the events of Secret of the Mimic, William Afton takes M2 for himself, has it behave under the David persona, has fake skin designed for M2 to look similar to younger William Afton, and M2 behaves as his first but non-biological child, Michael Afton. Michael Mimic tortures the crying child because of how William tortures both of them. Michael is raising CC when William isn't around and forces CC to dress like David Murray, and then shoves him into the mouth of Fredbear in 1983 with some friends that then Michael Mimic has managed to make posing as human. Long story short, the Mimic winds up buried under FFPS because they were Michael acting as a franchisee owner of a Freddy's when it was set on fire. Oh, you think that... Oh, so you think like the Mimic underneath the building that's sealed away that we let out and ruin is Mike? Yo, I don't necessarily think that's the case, because I think it's funny for a Mimic AI to be like, I have to be Michael now, but I'm going to make my younger brother dress like me when I was a kid. But that would be crazy if he was the Mimic the whole time. My question would be like, okay, but like, what happened when the scooper got him? Why didn't the Mimic get scooped out? Because that would have been his bones and stuff. But I guess if he was a robot, he should be dead, but he's not. He wouldn't know, I guess, until that point. Very interesting. I know there's a lot of people who think M2 might be Michael or might have become Michael in some way, because like the ages as well, or William might have kidnapped David to turn him into Michael or something. Don't know about that. Would be weird. But that would be a crazy twist. I'll give you that. What is the heyday everybody has been talking about? Oh, actually, sorry, somewhat we have another one. I think it's the Withered Bite of 87. I think I'm going to pretty quickly run through this. One of the 4 Withers is the Bite of 87. To get the 3rd star achievement in FNAF 2, you must complete 420 mode with the Withers on Custom Night. Huh. I don't know that. Wait. To get the 3rd star achievement in FNAF 2, you must complete 420 mode with the Withers on Custom Night. I did not know that. Fritz Smith tampers with the animatronics, setting everything at 0, but the original 4 Withered animatronics. Fritz is fired. The original 4 animatronics become active during the day, and one of them attacks Jeremy Fitzgerald. That's cool. Is that true? I'm gonna look that up. FNAF 2 3 star. Let me see. FNAF 2 gameplay. Can you do Withered Freddy jump scare impression? I don't. Man, I really just went for it. No preparation whatsoever. There you go. Maybe, okay, I know maybe what you want me to do. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to set my... Wait. Set up a little bit more. No, I can't do it. I'm trying to make my guy react really quickly. Damn. Well, that was a shame. Sorry. That was the best you're gonna get. That wah. There you go. Beat Night 7 on 420 mode is all I'm seeing for the stars. I'm not seeing it specifically for the Withers. But that is cool, if that is the case. I do think Withered Foxy did it just because of stuff in the week before. But then again, maybe it's not canon anymore, so I don't know. Or it never was. But cool if true. Resident FNAF. Something. It won't show me your full name. What is the Heyday everyone's been talking about? Heyday is the name of the FNAF 2 reboot. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out on my channel. If you haven't seen my first reboot video, how are you even here? How have you found me? Yeah, I made the reboot 1 video, and the reboot of FNAF 2 that I'm making at the minute is called Heyday. The video about it. Mio. Let me see. Mio. I sent 2. 1 short, 1 long. Thank you. I love watching. Thank you very much, Mio. I love getting submissions. Okay. In regards to FNAF World, the thing about don't go further than 3 to glitch this down. First thing that comes to mind is number 4 is taboo, like 13 is. Number 4 is similar sounding to FNAF to the word for she. Okay, Japanese. So in the game, you're in the mind, which it would make sense to know number 4, because if you want to live in the mind, you want to live for real. We can say die. I'll say die. Which in turn is possibly why there's 4 gates. I don't know what she is in Japanese. But, yeah, I like that connection with 4 being kind of like taboo. FNAF 4? Sorry. But that is cool. I do like that the 4th glitch down is the dangerous one. If it is about by victim, FNAF 4 is taboo. Something about the Japanese word for she. I don't know what that is, but there you go. Thank you very much, Mio. Maybe you were supposed to say... I'm not going to guess. Costino. Mine is about MCM. Okay. I am going to try and just get these few finished, and then I think I'll have to leave it because I am awfully tired. Costino. Or sorry, $Tino. If MCM is powered by Remnant, I think Edwin melted the Fallfest fire remains. A lot of death happened there. This could also explain the random power surges. I saw this recently on a Rytoast podcast. Really like that idea. If the MCM molten metal stuff is Remnant, I think you're absolutely right that the best place to get that from is the Fallfest fire. Because I think Fiona's agony would then have a way back into the building, because right now we don't really have a way other than like her just kind of imprinting on stuff and dying and then randomly possessing the mimic. We don't have any reason to believe that her agony would come back. But if she died at Fallfest and they recycled her parts to make the mimic, even you don't even need it to be Remnant that's like being piped through pumped through those pipes. That's a good way of making the mimic. Because Fiona dies, Edwin needs to make a robot. They have all this old crap from Fallfest. So he starts to recycle bits and pieces from Fallfest and makes the first M1. That's how Fiona starts to possess it. I like that. There you go. Thank you very much, Costino. Clovis. We're speedrunning these. I have a theory about what Scott's one retcon could have been. In the closing scene of Sister Location, Springtrap is shown in the burnt-out Fazbear Frights, but the building itself is still standing. This contradicts the newspaper at the end of FNAF 3, which says the building burned to the ground. Seems pretty nitpicky, but that would explain why no one really pointed out the contradiction at the time. It fits with the description that most people didn't notice the retcon. You could actually... Okay. Could absolutely argue that. I think the retcon post was after Sister Location anyway. Right? Wasn't it? I think it was. And if it wasn't, then never mind. But if it was, that's kind of good because it also retcons the final newspaper with Springtrap in the background. Because I think the idea was that he was going to get sold at auction. But then which is weird because you'd think they'd want to play into that in FNAF 6. Because the whole thing about that game is buying stuff from like other stores. You'd think you'd buy Scraptrap. That would have been so cool. Okay, that's got to go in the reboot. No, it can't go in the reboot. Never mind. Maybe it can. I'll figure it out. But that is a cool way of doing it. You know what? I don't hate that. I don't hate that as one of the answers. Yeah, it's really a very unimportant thing. And you're right, it is kind of pedantic. Because you could say burnt to the ground and it still has like a shell standing. Sorry. You said she equals death. Okay. Someone please look over the long... Oh, sometimes please look over the long one. Sorry, I forgot there was two. But thank you very much, Clovis. I actually quite like that as an answer. I'll think about that a bit more. In regards to FNAF World, I don't know. Next one, sorry. Oh, my lord, that is quite a long one. Let me just skim this really quickly because I'm... let me see. Just want to know if theory ones are logical and questions and thoughts. 6 things in this. Okay, so this is more about like theories itself. Okay. Can someone be a fan and make theories if they cannot personally watch, play any of the games or movies or read the books, but get information from everyone? I have so many medical things in mental, I can't read and play/watch games and movies. I don't know if you want me to read out what you've listed here, because you said you kind of want it summarized, not word for word, so I'll leave those as private. I'm sorry to hear that. That is, I'm sure, very difficult. But I absolutely think you can be a fan and make theories. I don't think you need to play the games yourself. I don't know... I don't know if... I assume it would prevent you from watching videos of people playing. But honestly, I think if you watch enough theory videos, like, there is stuff that you should be aware of, that you should do your own research and try and look into things as much as possible. You know, like, for example, looking into the details of the minigames. Like, don't just take a summary from somebody. Like, the minigame stuff you can probably get... Like, if you can watch these videos, I'm not sure if you can or can't, but if you can watch theory videos or listen to theory videos, you might be able to do that for the minigames, for example. Or try and listen to, like, a very detailed breakdown of them if you can't watch them. I assume part of the issue with the playing the games is both the physical aspect and the jump scare aspect. So those parts of the games are very rarely actually important to the story. Those are these are the, like, gameplay parts between the story bits. So you can get away with listening to Ralph. You can you can't. It says, I think he said you can't read the books. That's fine. Again, I don't know enough about your own medical things, as you call them. But yeah, I think if you can receive information from other people, that's totally fine. And there's nothing to stop you from theorizing, you know. And I think that anyone that would criticize you for theorizing without having played them or whatever would be probably being dishonest, because most theorists don't play the games. So, you know, there's still a couple of them I haven't played. Or yeah, there's a couple. So, you know, I would be in a glass house if I told you, you know, to not make theories if you haven't heard from them. Absolutely something you can do, and absolutely something I encourage you to do, because theories are fun. I mean, we literally just read out one of yours there, and I thought it made sense. I thought it was cool. I thought it worked. And again, that's something I think that you can use to your advantage, that you're looking at it from a different perspective. So 100% you can do that. And anybody else that's listening that might have similar worries or fears, you absolutely can do that as well. So 2, in an obvious loose thought and idea that something along the lines that William or both Henry wanted Fiona for themselves only, probably relationship wise, but possibly could be in regards to solely working for William's company and no one else. Which, what if the cause of the disaster at Fallfest was because if William was either to eliminate Fiona or cover evidence and not incriminate himself? Maybe Henry was willing to sabotage Edward and or the company because of being jealous of Fiona marrying Edward instead of him. so Henry was in some ways and times more than willing to help William out. Also, in regards to Edwin's recording of him saying his dad was right about not trusting them, what if it was either he was seeing something like this happening from an outsider's view, or maybe he saw the same patterns happening? I think I agree with the last point there, that it's the kind of like the pattern repeating with maybe something that happened to his dad. I don't know so much if we have the evidence to say that Henry and Fiona had a thing at all. Like, we don't have any sort of interaction between those two characters. Henry even seems to be partially responsible for overwriting the stuff that Fiona designed. William, again, we only kind of have like the baby isn't mine stuff if we want to go that way. I think a lot of the kind of William wants Fiona or Fiona relationship with William things are speculative at best. Like, speculative, obviously. Loosely speculative at best. But that being said, I don't think that the idea that William calls the Fall Fest fire is unpopular at all. And I think you could definitely be onto something there. In regards to Charlie's death, if memory serves, the locations are in Utah, true. Plus, this being a summer job, aka temp job, it could be dark and still not very late in the night, fair. During the summer solstice in Utah, sunset is around 8:45, 9 p.m.-ish. During the winter solstice, sunset is around somewhere around 5 p.m. With the video in mind, again, my memory, if it's not confirmed to be raining, could it possibly be sleet or snow? I think it is raining. I think it might be called rain in the files. It sounds like rain anyway when it's raining. But yeah, determining the time of day or year is weird in those mini games. It's kind of difficult. But yeah, sometime around fall, I think, could make sense because it's rainy and it's dark early, and something around that would make sense. So that's good to look at. I think it is rain though, personally. FNAF World. Oh yeah, we talked about FNAF World. In regards to David, his age, and Fiona and her passing conflicting between the book and game. If he was 2 in the books when she passed, it might have been easier to explain David that she had passed at birth due to his age. Typically, you have to be 5 years old by a certain date to start kindergarten, so one much older than 5 or 6. With the David stuff in the books are just very different. So I wouldn't worry so much about the two being conflicting. Because in the books, it's just a different timeline based on what we've seen in the games. I'm not sure how much of the Secret of the Mimic stuff you're aware of, but the Tales games are the Tales books are very different from the game's continuity. So I wouldn't worry so much about them not lining up. Just random thoughts. 6, I wanted to say thank you. And the ones going over theories of FNAF on YouTube, I love watching, catching up, and partaking when I can. My kids love the games, and I can join it with them all because of you. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say, Mio. And thank you very much for submitting. I know that was a long one, but hopefully that was of some help. And I absolutely think that people can be a fan and make theories regardless of their difficulties or ailments. It's not an exclusive club to people that have to be able to play the game or have to be able to watch the movie. You can find out these information from other sources. It's just a different way to approach the series. But thank you very much. Now, let me see. Okay, that was 1. And then we had Clovis. And then we have Waffle. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody. Mio. Costino, I think I did yours. Yeah, Retcon Theory, we did that. Can you do Freddy finding out cheese is cold impression? I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a reference. Oh, my cheese is cold. That's whatever I did earlier. That's what does that mean? Finding out cheese is cold. All right. Okay, the Dark Devil. Let me see. Is it possible that William didn't kill Charlie in the Silver Eyes? After only says, I took you, and yet says, I killed your brother. First I killed your brother in the movie. He says he has a truth worse than anything that I could come up with kind of attitude when talking about fake blood and TFC as well. Anyone else like Henry and Baby just assumes she died, only after the nose, and he doesn't seem to gloat about I killed you before I can do it again. He actually focuses more on how he grabbed her, like at the end of this Silver Eyes during the Twisted Ones battle. I think William could have kidnapped Charlie and thrown her in an orphanage, and then Henry just assumed Charlie died and replaced her with fake Charlie. Makes it sound like Henry thought Charlie was replaceable in that context. It also explains who the woman under the tree at the end of the fourth closet is. She isn't a random new form of robot Charlie. It's the real Charlie grown up who has now come back. Maybe. It'd be weird. It'd be weird for William's MO. I don't know. It's definitely cleaner. Well, I don't know if it's definitely cleaner, but it's, I suppose, less weird than like a new robot Charlie showing up. Maybe that was like supposed to be set up for a follow-up, and they never went with it. But that's a cool observation, that we never get the actual confirmation 100%. Yeah, because I always wondered that. Let me see. Do you think GTA is strange waffle? Strange waffle indeed. Do you think GTA is canon to FNAF lore? Yeah, obviously. She equals death. Thank you very much. Not Voss. I have a brief one sent in before you go. All right. This will be the last one. Please, no more. No more. we'll have to do this again. I got. Jeez, this is. I've over. Do I have like 472 now? It's crazy. The mystery that Scott says people haven't figured out from Sister Location is that Mike is a bastard. Oh, you mean literally? I thought you meant like you just hate Mike. Mike's a fucking asshole. Excuse my French. While William is his father and his mother is not Mrs. Afton but a woman named Schmidt. This is why William hates Mike. The Immortal and the Restless explicitly says he owes child support twice. This might play a role in why Mike bullies his younger brother so harshly too. He's an unwanted child. So in this case, would crying child be the child of somebody else? Yeah, so William would have Mrs. Afton, but Mike would be like an affair baby or something like that? Perhaps an Ed Cook? No. I always like any explanation people can come up with for why he's Mike Schmidt. I always like that. No matter what it is, there's always something I just enjoy about him. Like whether it's the mother's maiden name, or it's like Henry's name, or it's his middle name, or whatever. You know, I always like that. Or it's like the surname of one of the kids or something. I like that quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, the baby isn't mine. It's pretty on the nose, but I don't know why that would be important. I guess it would just be information about Mike and his relationship to William. But the baby isn't mine thing is really weird in that game. Anyway, there's a lot of interpretations of it, but I like what you're thinking. Oh, BB Studios sent another one in earlier on. All the neighborhood kids from FNAF 4 represent the FNAF 3 minigames. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. This is the last one. This is actually the last one. Actually the last one. So the FNAF 3 minigames. This guy's saying that the kids in FNAF 4 represent those. So we'd have, let me share. So we would have Balloon Boys, Air Adventure, whatever it's called. We would have Susie Girl, Toy Chica's Party, Chica's Party World, or whatever it's called, Chica's Party. That would be the Freddy kid laughing on the ground. He kind of looks like him. He's got the green shirt, the brown pants. He looks like he might be laughing. To be fair, on that night you can find the Elizabeth Mangle in the house. So it'd be both of them. Spring Bonnie and Fredbear. You'd have the Spring Bonnie kid, Finger Trap kid. And then who would the cat, like the pigtail girl be? She's the only one that I'm struggling to connect right now. Maybe she's the spring. Maybe she's the RFQ. Or he, whatever. And that minigame starts in Fredbear's. I mean, like, it's obviously relating to these games. Again, more just like Happiest Day beating you over the head that it's bite victim stuff. I just think it's interesting if it is actually one of each of the kids, because that's, again, more like MCI stuff. Oh, Mia, thank you for expanding. You were saying think of strobe lights, epilepsy. Okay, that's very fair. Yeah, of course, I can see why the games would be difficult to engage with. Oh, Lorenzo, thank you very much. Those are very kind words. That's very nice of you to say. I appreciate that. I don't know if I've done anything to the FNAF community. I feel like I just showed up, but I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Let me see. Finding out what it's called. What are you talking about? Clara, I tell you, the baby isn't mine. Okay, one last check. I'm just going to throw out... we throw out... Did anybody put in a super chat that wanted me to read a theory that I missed? Just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. For anyone who didn't get their theory read today, like for me, it's nearly 1:15. Seabass, you sent. Seabass, did you send a? You sent a super chat? Wants potatoes. I didn't super chat, but spiritually I did. So I think that counts. Seabass, I really apologize. I really am sorry. Seabass, here we go. Hey, Arcadius, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. You just wanted to say hi. Well, hello. Seabass, here we go. Theory. Jackie is the first prototype of the puppet. Core idea. Jackie isn't just a random animatronic. She's the prototype for the puppet, predating even the well-known marionette from FNAF 2. Think her as the original gift-bearing animatronic whose design is inspired the puppet's creation. Both figures are linked to music boxes, with the same song, by the way, and long arms. Jackie's jack-in-the-box mechanics and stretchy limbs mirror the puppet's design sensibilities. And she's, like, very related to presents. Like, everywhere there's presents around her. And she also loses her nose. And I think gets tear streaks, right? In Secret of the Mimic. Jackie damage Sotum. Yeah, she like loses her nose, has a big, like she's got the puppet head basically when she loses the face. So yeah, I do. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Nightmare own mode. Yeah, kind of a little bit like that. But yeah, I would tend to agree. I think that the alt puppet or the puppet designs at the end of the game indicate that Edwin at least had something to do with the puppet. But I think you're right that Jackie is the precursor. I don't think it's necessarily a case that we're going to be like, oh, Jackie is this character is actually Charlie or whatever. But I think the idea is that like Jackie is kind of like a cross between the puppet and Circus Baby, and might have been the inspiration for both. and that Henry and William might have taken different things from Edwin. Might be kind of representative of that. Whoa, my guy is freaking out. Let me turn up my reaction threshold. But yeah, I like that. That's cool. Sorry, I have my green screen here. You can see she's got like the black tear streaks, big mouth. She's got the red pigtails like baby. You know, no nose. She got the big cheeks. Wow. God damn it. That's what... I didn't mean to say that. Pause. Oh, jeez. That's really funny. Sorry. Ayo. All right. Well, listen, guys. I'm really, really sorry if there's anybody that sent a super chat that I might have forgotten. Top G, hello. If there's anybody I might have forgotten that I missed, I really, really do apologize. I very much appreciate your contributions and donations. I just genuinely, I yap so much. If there was anybody I missed, I really do apologize. But otherwise, thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Anyone that stuck around, thank you so much. If you're popping out, just make sure you hit the like button. I will absolutely have to do another one. I think I'm just gonna have to make this a running series, and we just have guests on and we talk about stuff and we go through as many as we can, and infinite content. But if you guys enjoy it, then I am more than happy to do it. So nice, Raccoon Smiles. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoy it. Today was fun. I think we got through a lot more than we did last time, just because I wasn't trying to get, you know, my theory out and then like trying to make sure I was balancing with the other host, and you know. But thank you very much, guys. It's been a fun one. It's been a fun one. Thank you all very much. Have a good night, and I will see you all soon. I'll try and have another stream next week for this, or even later this week. Who knows? Don't worry, Korobor. You gotta go back and check out the VOD. There's some good stuff. Some fun. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.